You know,
Welcome back to the Miss Treason. We're going to shut Richard up now.
Just sew his mouth shut for a bit.
I guess
No, we gotta put a gag in it.
Keep going, Cat. Keep going. Stop
he
being
might
kinky.
actually
Keep
enjoy
going.
that.
Stop.
Hey,
Y'all
you can
shut
do it. Keep going.
You got this. Start the session. Everyone shut up.
Maybe if we move maps.
What if I server mute
No,
Richard?
Already
We were on the other one for a while.
Someone literally
Or no, we weren't.
I wasn't gonna do it, and then someone else did it.
Last
What
time
happened?
we had Celsus had to give a hand to Reine. This time we wake up to a new day.
Bloody hell! What was I gonna? We were gonna go underneath the city after we Legend Lord, right, Richard?
Oh, we were gonna work on that stuff using what we got last night, and then figure out what we can learn from that, and wait probably for the others to come to us, see what we figure out, and if it matches up with what you're thinking, legend lore, and then see if we couldn't go underneath the city.
Yeah. Did I have a good sleep on the bunk bed at least?
Oh yeah.
Roll me a wisdom saving throw.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a fine night. It was weird, but good sleep.
Was it comfy?
They are on the outside of the... Yes, it was comfy. They are on the outside of the wall. They are not well outside of town. They did go well outside of town to go get the branches.
Which we've now got.
Which were, Aveline's now going to analyze.
We have more than just branches. We got what was it? 2 big
Sap, branches, leaves.
Yeah, root.
I'm
sap.
gonna whenever Howlite's able to make their way out of bed, they're gonna head on over and help analyze these samples that we got.
And Uryte's just gonna do his typical thing of as he's waking up, getting prepared, just whistling an inspiring tune.
And Erevan's gonna keep an eye on Reine, because clearly she can't.
Well, the thought of adding to Howlite's question of, wait, how is he whistling? So does he actually have lips?
Howlite ponders the questions of life, particularly the questions of lizard lips, as they climb out of bed and try to find wherever Ava is currently.
Analyzing the leaves, kind of taking the powder that you created yesterday and using it on the leaves, seeing what happens, using on the sap, etc., etc.
They'll gently walk in and just sort of help out however best they can.
Cool.
I just love that they've got the bard in the corner that's just staring, watching, whistling.
Yeah, so I'm gonna roll in private, obviously.
Do I get to give help action to Ava?
Yeah. She gets advantage.
Yay.
And a d6. Watch her get another 30.
I'll believe in her.
She did roll another 30.
I love Ava. She's the best.
Nice.
Jesus.
So it takes a little bit of time, probably a couple hours in the morning. During this point, Celsus and Erevan to begin regenerating the hand so that you can go do other things. And you get a feeling that Gwynevere is going to keep Reine
On a tighter leash.
on a tighter leash.
Good.
So if you two wish to arrive in the caravan while these three are working on analyzing the reversely fraught appendages.
Yeah, okay.
Cool. So by the time that you get there, Aveline has basically kind of modified the formula to be more potent and also a liquid, as well as you can also do it as powder. And you just kind of walk in and she's got her big goggles on, and she's pouring things into a test tube.
Huh. I guess you were right. 3 times was better.
Listen, world works in threes. I don't know why, it just does.
Does seem to be an odd pattern.
Yeah. Just gonna add that to my notes
Unless
here.
you're flowers. Flowers works in fives as well.
Or sixes.
Or sixes, which are threes.
Works in
True.
3s.
And Ava will pull off her goggles and be like, "Hi guys!" To Erevan and Celsus. Would you like some tree cure?
Fresh branch.
If it's finished.
This should work, theoretically. I mean, okay, it will work because the other one worked, but it should be faster theoretically. Y'all are quiet. What happened?
Blanket for a minute there, but the Howlite.
Hmm.
Should we like tell them about like our conversation last night and all that? The thing with the wind stuff.
Oh, the only person that didn't see that was Erevan. Celsus, did you fill him in?
Yes.
Okay. Am I misinterpreting something as yet?
I kind of like does that thing of like kind of rubbing the head, kind of like light tap. Nah, I've forgotten.
Okay.
We blew up a tree. She blew up a tree.
We blew up a tree.
It was cool.
And it seems like progress is being made.
Did you tell Erevan about the possible connection between the Aletha thing and that dust disease majigger?
Well, when looking at the books, they kind of sort of just start talking to Erevan. It does seem possible that, well, this singular tome from Aletha, this one very out-of-place object here, could be the root of this fever that's been predicted by Cross.
Yeah, one of these two fine folk here had the idea of what if the Zombos wasn't like looking for something, but protecting.
Crazy people do believe they're doing the right thing. Path to hell is paved in good intentions. And all that.
Yes,
Indeed.
it did seem possible that, well, my gut instinct is telling me that the source of a lot of this may be coming from underneath the city itself.
Because of the wind thing you brought up when we
Yes.
first came here.
The wind, the undead, the tree rot. Ava pointed out that it's quite possible that these undead are protecting people and stopping them from leaving their homes. All of this points towards something being in this city still. At least in my opinion.
Yeah,
But where would we look that isn't already full of people? Where would people be able to get to or come? What would be able to come out at night?
Holds up a finger. Catacombs or sewers? Or similar?
I agree with that because like I tried detect magic and stuff like that throughout the entirety of this place since getting here, and I feel like
You can find the source of the magic that's calming the winds.
the best place to look, since I can't see anything like, up, around, or whatever. I think Howlite's right. I think it might be down.
It would also
Possible.
explain why the spell is theoretically able to cover the city in a dome. Normally domes have a central point, and since we didn't find a magical artifact in the center of the city, my guess is that center point is much deeper down.
Also, I feel like I should bring this up, but Reine decided to get into a bit of trouble last night and tried to steal the blue fire lantern from the
Oh yes,
She
that
did
I'd
what?
nearly forgotten.
Uh,
Celsus
turns out it's
wiped part of
cursed.
his cloak.
It turns out the lantern is cursed and lets the necromancer directly control whoever wields it, whoever's holding the lantern.
Does that mean Reine is dead?
No, Reine, Celsus found her before I did. Before
I had to blow
she
off
got
her
too
hand.
far out and blew off her hand.
I mean, it's
Could
better
be
to
worse.
miss a hand than yeah.
Could've
I'm
been the whole arm.
probably gonna have to find a way to pay back the church for regenerating it.
Huh.
Well, if we are lucky, crypts sometimes have treasures.
True.
First, we have to find a way into the crypts. Do you want me and does one of you want to come with me and try to figure out the way into the crypts, or do we want to go as a group?
Eva, do you know of any crypts in this town? Or
Not that I know of.
anything underground?
A well system?
No. There's the system in town. There's like
Celsus starts muttering, "Please don't say sewers. Please don't say sewers. Please don't say sewers."
I don't know if there's a sewers. I know they have like a system for the fountain.
Okay, that's not as bad.
I don't think
This
there's.
sounds large enough.
There used to be like an old logging, old logging place. It's in the middle of the woods though, and nobody goes out there. And I don't even know where it would be.
The logging place, huh?
That's the only place I could think of. Like, oh, there's like something under it. Of like, yeah, there's an old logging camp. Who would check the logging camp? You could also check the alchemist's lab. The church? I don't think there's anything under the church because I burned the other one down.
Could be
Yes,
possible.
but just because there's nothing under the original church doesn't mean there isn't something under the crypts in the back.
You could check the graveyard.
That seems so obvious.
It does seem a little
What
obvious.
is
Sometimes
necromancer?
the most obvious solutions are the right ones.
Reine pulls out like the rest of the notes that he's not been able to repair yet. These might actually have clues or hint as to like, I went here today.
That's fair enough. If he took a lot of notes and then he left, it would stand to reason that whatever, if they are guarding or looking for something, it would at least have traces in the notes.
Maybe in the future notes, it might have something like, today I tried this when I went to this area.
Look in the future notes for the air. If we can find where that air spell originates from, maybe we can. Because I don't think. It just seems reasonable to me that it would be in like a central town well or
Yeah, that's what I
something
thought.
like that.
That's what I thought too, which is why my brain went right back to his little thing, because it's in the middle of town, essentially.
Right.
It is just off the town square.
Is there a fountain in
It
the
can't
town square?
There might be a fountain in the town square.
There is a fountain in the town square.
Then okay, this is gonna sound stupid, and I know that it's in like a lot of bard stories and whatnot, but maybe there's a hidden button on that thing.
A hidden button.
Okay, just to refresh my memory, when we use detect magic, could we actually see the dome?
We didn't
no,
see the dome, we just knew there was something.
because like
Okay.
I never used it like at the cusp.
Okay,
We never found the edge of it, yeah?
Yeah.
because if we find the edge of it and we walk around the edge of it for a while, we can determine if the center point is like still above ground or if it's like way below ground, because the curve will be different.
And the curve
Mhm.
would go back towards the city wall or stay the same distance away from it if it's dead center of town.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's a question. Where all have we felt slight wind breezes at? The forest like precipice thing?
It's been when we've gone out,
Yeah.
we've gone
I
outside.
felt
of the
wind
town.
at the forest edge.
Cat?
If you go outside of the caravan right now, you would feel a wind.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
Like
why
a
don't we
slight breeze.
why don't we try the entrance to the town, the town gate?
Okay. I can ritual cast detect magic for that. But before we go out, do we want to try doing the legend lore on the whole?
Yes. Actually, that's probably a really good start.
Oh, another possibility, that now that I'm thinking about it, is what if it's like inscribed inside the city walls?
Yeah, that would be interesting. Like, oh, you're talking like maybe there's like fuck, what's it called?
Like an inscription, an entire magic circle around the city
Oh,
in the
that
city.
would be
Yeah.
nuts. Like,
Yeah.
the city has walls, yes, Cat?
Yes.
It doesn't have
Do they-
gates.
does
They're
the-
usually left open.
Does it have battlements?
Parts of the wall do.
Okay, are they near like the entrance gates and all that?
No.
No.
You get the sense that at some point the zombies were more aggressive when they still had guards and took down parts of the wall.
Okay, okay.
And they just didn't bother putting new battlements in those new parts of the wall.
Gotcha, okay. Well, why don't we start with the legend lore? That might help us.
Yeah. So
Might give us a point in a direction anyway. We have so many options right now.
Aletha, or like try to see if I can't be like more specific on like Aletha, the unworthiness.
Those that the religious book, does the religion have like a name on the front of it?
The cover is blank. The spine is blank.
Are we using the item that has a chance to break?
The chance to
Yes.
break every dawn.
Okay.
So you won't know if it breaks until tomorrow.
Okay.
I feel like we should focus on the religion because that's what we think came here. The city of Aletha
Yeah.
itself is irrelevant.
To try
Yeah,
to
I
like
Pacific
Elite.
is the way to go.
Alethan religion, maybe. Then
They were like they wanted to attain godhood, so maybe like, what if we just look up the fever?
just look at the fever.
The fever
Yeah.
itself, yeah.
Yeah, Uryte's gonna pull out the orb, focus on it, and okay, let's see what we can't find out about this dust fever.
All right, I get to phrase some prophetic shit.
Let's get a prophecy. Oh hell yeah.
Uryte, you get in your mind a confusing as hell amount of words. Alethan consequences sprouted by the ash and the disregard for the world. Brought once again by the frozen rock outside of the ruined city. Changes made outside dare to revive the ancient city, to where once again the power imbalance causes thousands to die and dissolve into nothingness.
Oh, that's terrifying.
This is
Who's
like
coming from Aletha?
supermassive mega volcanoes level of.
I'm getting the feeling that whatever's going on here wouldn't just affect Lemstead, it would affect everyone.
Mm-hmm. Here's a question. Map. Where on the map is the volcano?
You don't know?
Did I not get a general direction for where Aletha was?
North is
North.
about all we got.
North and in a volcano.
The one that we don't know of that's far north,
Mhm.
the one far left, and then the one far right. Those triangulate to make a perfect, if all three of them erupted, the entire world might go to ash.
Ooh.
Or
The
at
center
least
point of
everything
that
in the
is-
area.
Fucking hell, you're right.
Aurelia.
Mm-hmm.
And the center point of that is, yeah. Which might be
That's
like
back in-
where the frozen rock might be.
Is Krilla the capital city of Kildaro?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, fucking hell. Consequences sprouted by the ash and the disregard for the world. Are you thinking that a spout of pumice erupted from this volcano and flew down somewhere else?
Hmm.
Oh fuck, okay. And there's something inside of that, some horrible mistake of science or biology or whatever.
Okay. They're trying to become gods. One of the gods decides, no, fuck you. Sends down a magic meteor.
It does deal a lot of fucking damage.
I have a guess on what we're actually going to find with Aletha.
Mhm.
If it's a volcano that no one knows the location of, used to be a trading city that everyone from theoretically just up and vanished, it's going to be hard to find. So why would it just be an open top smoking volcano? It's probably something either dormant or hidden, or
What if
Nondescript.
what if it's under the ice?
like an underwater volcano in a lake.
More like it's deep underground and like there's frozen things above it.
Could be under the
That-
ocean too. Something just struck me as really weird about this all.
Yeah.
Aletha is celestial. Everyone said it's a dwarf city.
Yeah, that's kind of
You're
weird.
right.
It's a little weird, right?
Does Aletha mean anything in Dwarvish?
Nope.
Do we have comprehend languages?
that's
I would
odd.
love to know what Aletha means, if that's doable.
I do.
Guys, okay, what if the current history is just a cover up?
Maybe none of it's actually even real. That's possible.
What?
Changes
Oh,
made
okay.
outside.
Because it's a lot easier if someone goes around, oh, what's Aletha? It's a lot easier to, instead of just say, oh, that's just not a thing, it's a lot easier to say, oh, it's just this dwarf city.
What if it's not even a city? What if it's the name of like an angel or something?
I just thought of something. and I want to test a theory now.
Okay.
Celsus,
Aye, that's
give me the book, please.
here you go.
Slams it down, casts comprehend language. I'm gonna try and see if me spending an hour looking at this book will reveal anything that is different from what Celsus read. Because it was written in ancient tongue, so maybe by using comprehend languages, I will get something different than what he got.
Yeah, so, since it's an uncommon.
Uncommon! Yeah, I forgot about that.
I might get like a different meaning from like this entire book.
Yeah.
Can you give me an investigation check?
Bless.
Oh, fuck
Bless.
yes! I feel so hashtag blessed right now.
Oh my lord. Plus a d4.
Take your d4.
Take your lumps.
18?
That's pretty good.
The only thing that you really get that's different from reading it in the classic uncommon instead of translating it, minor differences, nothing that would drastically change the meaning. Do you want to know what Oletha means?
Do we know what Aletha
Yeah.
means?
It means lifted up to God.
Okay. That kind of actually confirms one of my thoughts a little bit more. Here's my theory. It's a flying city. And they're trying to bring that back.
I think we might need to ask giants.
Giant.
Why giants?
Aletha in translation means lifted up to God.
And that leads to giants how?
There are giants that live in the sky, aren't there?
Are there?
Cloud
Storm
giant.
giants and cloud giants, yes.
So they might have knowledge of a thing that was brought up to God.
To suggest they blasted themselves up with that volcanic force to the heavens above, and are still drifting to this day. That's
Or they tried to
certainly a
become
terrifying
God
theory.
using the power of that volcano, and it turns poorly and turned them all to ash.
But Howlite's idea is kind of matching what I'm thinking of. They blasted themselves up into the sky, and that's what caused people to die. That's why the people of Aletha vanished, because they're
because the city.
up there.
But the city's still there.
Is it?
But is all of the city still there? Or just the ruined parts of the city?
We have no proof that the city still stands on this earth. We have no evidence of where Aletha has gone. All we have is that portal back in Saith.
Wait, what portal?
The portal in...
There's a
Did
portal?
we not tell you about the portal?
No.
Yes, in Saith, in this wizard tower, there was a ritualistic circle. This is what we're all going to
Like a
investigate.
teleportation circle?
Yes.
Oh, right, up with those guys that we didn't kill because they were just standing there maintaining the portal.
And one of the children there that had gotten wrapped up in all of that said they saw a figure in a red mask in that tower. And that figure then was gone. What's to say that the Alethans aren't coming back from wherever they went?
I feel like that we got two prophecies here now, or at least one prophecy and one very vague thing, because that spell is fucking cool and weird.
No offense to you guys and all your lore about all this, but how does this directly cause the fever? Because that is what is most important to what our current predicament
Spawned
is.
from the eruption of an ash from volcanic eruption. That seems to be what this prophecy is saying. Wait. Or some sort of rain, some sort of precipitation, yes? Something from the sky above.
Yeah, the only other thing I could think of is that the frozen rock is something that holds a disease within it, and once that melts by the changes made outside, it will bring back the disease.
But then that means this man's been setting up preparations for that for 10 years,
Means to me
What
that
is-
instead of trying to stop it from getting released.
it means to me that the still air that is set in place to counteract the fever, which almost definitely is some sort of airborne illness. Yes?
Unless it's, the other idea we had, which was volcano bullshit.
Could be.
Because if it's volcanic dust, I imagine that barely needs any wind to move, period.
Actually, wait,
Hitting a
maybe.
Volcanic
dome
ash
of
is
still air
carried
will
by...
just cause it to settle straight down
Volcanic,
into the city.
volcanic ash is carried by air above the clouds. So, no, you don't need wind at all to carry volcanic ash. You just need
Yeah.
the above winds.
Which makes me also ponder then, like, if it is a volcano thing and it is like an airborne disease, combine both those things and you get screwed in the worst of ways. Disease gets launched into the sky because of the volcanic ash, clings to that, and it falls down everywhere.
But if the volcanic ash falls into a windless city, it doesn't blow around into people's lungs, it falls straight down.
Yeah. And if you've got undead keeping people inside of homes
No one gets covered
And
by it.
possibly sweeping up the city.
because they're moving in a specific pattern, it'll create a very small gust.
Enough to move the ash out of the city when they leave by morning.
That's rather clever.
Rather
And at the
absurd
same
of a
time-
solution.
I think that considering the Celsus does air quotes, Alisa is a dwarvish city. Said very much in a way of I kind of don't believe that right now.
Yeah.
It was roughly 200 years ago. Yes?
From what the archives in Saith know.
Well, the answer in my head, if we really want to know the answer to that, is find someone who's that old and ask them.
Like a giant?
Like an
That is
elf?
exactly what I'm thinking.
A giant or an elf?
Giant or an elf.
Elves might be easier.
Maybe a
My head
druid.
immediately went to giant. Giants tend to live around, well, hill giants are around 200, and storm and cloud giants are a bit closer to 175.
I'd say ask a dragon, but I don't think.
Dragons are far more uncommon.
Yeah, those things are hard to find.
They are indeed. Meanwhile, hill giants, well, they're not exactly subtle.
Nor are they great company.
Well, that being said, if this is to befall Aletha from some sort of ash, is it possible that in the mad scrawlings of Cross there's some sort of precipitation mentioned, some sort of preparation, anything that you've been able to discern from that, Uryte, Teva?
So far myself, nothing. Ava,
I got nothing.
if we want to try to study his notes more, I'll have to fix more of them.
Well, while we think on this, why don't we send out some more scouting, I suppose? Someone to check out the fountain in the center of town, and someone to check out this, lumber mill, yes?
Logging camp?
Logging camp, those are the words.
I
The
feel like if-
treehouse.
I feel like if we're going to go to the logging camp, we might want to go together. That seems like a prime place where we might run into more undead.
We do it during the day, it seems less likely, yes?
True, I'm just worried that it might be in a canopy location, and what happened on the way here might happen again.
That is true. If we...
Do we want to check the wall?
That too.
That's an easy thing to start with, and if I may suggest, before we head off, let's have lunch.
Really?
I don't want anyone finding out midway through that they're starving or the like.
That's fine with me.
That does make sense.
Since we're thinking of going out there and looking at the wall and whatnot, Celsus, I don't remember, but can you detect magic?
Yes, I can.
Awesome, so we can at least get both of us looking, not just one.
Indeed.
That's the old saying, 4 eyes is better than 2.
Is that a saying?
Amongst those with two heads, possibly?
Is that how that one?
I don't know sayings.
I understand
Uryte.
what you mean.
I think I've remembered that one wrong.
Are you thinking of two heads is better than one?
Yeah, I think that's what I was thinking of. It's
Those with two heads have 4 eyes. Yes, that's only logical.
it's been a while. Let's get some lunch.
Yes, and check out the wall on the way in.
Yeah,
Okay.
because then we can check the wall, check the fountain, and then go from there to the lumber mill.
That works.
Works for me.
Excuse me while I go and die.
Howlite's gonna go look at him weirdly and then go and grab their things from their cot. Grab their hat, grab their shoes. Get prepared to go.
I would come with you into town, but I feel like I may get pitchforked.
Do you want my cloak? You can blend in.
Oh, I was going to go start,
Open your shop.
Oh, I do need to open my shop. Not like anyone would buy anything from me.
If I had
No,
money,
I was gonna go walk out to the edge of the forest, and I was gonna go start pouring this fucking juice on the trees.
oh shit, right? We do need to test that still.
Well, good luck with you. Don't get yourself in too much trouble.
I'll try not to.
Don't do anything I wouldn't do.
That's a lot of stuff.
You don't know.
What wouldn't you do?
I mean, there's a list.
Go. I have to set up my shop. Get out the door.
Very specific list, I'd imagine. If you thought about that, they say while probably being shoved out the door.
He's like, I'm like right behind, just like, I mean, like, top 3, probably, like, one of those top 3 would have to be I wouldn't cheat.
Like at a game.
Oh, no, on a person that I care about.
How do you cheat on a person?
You know, like, you date one person or marry that other one person, and then, like, you go and have an affair with a different person that's not the person you have feelings for.
They just kind of look like all of that went over their head.
I am somebody that practices monogamy.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Uryte. I don't think you're getting through to her.
Agreed.
Trying. I'm not sure I follow, but...
He kind of like, while walking, just like does that thing of rubbing the head of like, how do I explain this?
I believe you're going to have to go into an in-depth description of marriage as well.
So when a man and a woman, or a man and a man, or a woman and a woman, or
I'm not
anything in
5
between.
years old, Uryte.
Okay. Wait, then you understand, yes?
No.
Fuck!
As you go get lunch,
Yeah.
are you going to check out the gate?
Yes.
I just love how,
Who's
like,
casting detect magic?
I think both.
Can I just say, if we were to cut the episode on Uryte yelling "fuck," it would be a great end to it.
Celsus, are you also casting detect magic?
I'm gonna cast it once he's run out.
Okay.
I'll be testing the wind, I think, the whole way.
Don't prick yourself.
Not planning on it.
Good.
I'm going to watch for birds.
All right.
You're watching for
A
birds.
little ornithology, you know.
I can't cast detect magic. I don't actually have that spell prepped.
Yeah, fair enough.
Uryte and Howlite give me investigation checks, and Erevan give me perception.
Yeah.
Woo!
Okay. I'm gonna start with Uryte. You like finish casting this as you like are about to walk into the gate, and you notice, like, as you're on the outside of the gate, you notice a magical aura over the gate, and one that goes up and kind of starts to curve, and then it gets out of the range and you can't see it. It's an abjuration source, and the thing that you also notice as you enter the gate and you like turn around to look at the gate and up at the wall, you can't see the magic.
Oh my god, it
Hmm.
stands inside the gate, goes outside the gate, it reappears.
And is it a dome that like seems centered in the center of town by how it like intersects the gate?
From what Uryte could see, you could assume so.
Oh boy.
Like, he goes sideways and has it to where like he's at the point, half in, half out.
You get a little nauseous because like one eye kind of unfocuses, and if you focus one, you can see it, but if you focus the other, you can't. I'm gonna do Howlite with the wind first.
Okay.
What are you looking for about the wind? Like,
So if I like sweep my hand towards the gate, do I feel a little pressure where it hits theoretically where this bubble would be? Can I see like any currents like flowing in? Is there possibly any air coming in between cracks in the walls? That sort of thing?
there's no air coming in through gaps in the wall. You notice is like you just like run your hand across the wall, and as you like walk into the gate, you notice that like there's a breeze behind you, but as soon as you get through the gate, it's gone.
Hmm. Does it seem to bounce off the gate and leave, or does it just
It just stops.
stop? Ooh.
Oh god, that's so weird.
And then if I look back, and then if he looked back, it was gone. My thought is that it's dulling your detect magic effect.
Got an experiment to do after I get my results back, but let's.
You, as you are walking in, there aren't many birds in the sky. You haven't, you like, as you're like looking around, you notice that you haven't seen many birds in general since you got here.
Hmm.
So, Uryte, is there a Howlite, is there a barrier, or is it?
Yeah. But like, so like, okay, outside can see barrier. Come inside, barrier's gone.
It seems to be detectable if I'm being honest. If I focus really hard, I could almost make it out just by the movements of the wind without any sort of magical detection spell up either.
You know, it's a weird abjuration school as well of what I got. What if this barrier, the wind hits it, and it absorbs the wind?
Hmm.
And when I come in, it's doing some form of like weird that is absorbing or causing some sort of feedback loop so that I won't see it.
I have a theory. What if it's not absorbing anything, rather moving it somewhere else? What if the reason it hurt so bad was that it was taking my essence and sucking it out of the city?
Trying to obfuscate it somewhere else.
Yes, here, I have a thought. This could be very dangerous, so I'm going to... Let's do it like this. They're gonna step outside of the city, so they're away from the magical circle. Pull out a, like a rubber stopper vial, something that can hold gases, you know?
Mhm.
Prick their finger, and put it up to that, and put just a little bit of their blood in it.
Alright.
Once that's done, they bandage their wound, make sure it's sealed. Right, I don't feel anything bad yet, yes?
Nope.
Okay.
Or he's gonna come out. He's gonna come to the precipice like he was before. Detect magic's still up, half in, half out, so he could watch this.
Oh, yeah. They hold up their blood. Is their blood magically detectable to Uryte?
Yes.
Okay. So now, I grab the top of, like, the squeezy bit. I can spray a little bit of this, my own blood, towards the spell. Theoretically, if it's still in there, you should be able to see it.
Yep.
It's not... Well, we'll just find out what happens, I suppose.
Yeah, I might even get to see it like zip zap zoop somewhere else.
Right. Keep your eyes peeled. 3,
Yep.
2, 1. Psst. They squeeze out a little bit of the blood towards the gate.
Does it make it within like past that first edge of the gate?
Yeah.
Okay. So Uryte,
Mhm.
What you see is it goes through the barrier, and in the split second where it's like touching the barrier, it is still magical, and then all the magical energy is gone.
So the moment it passes the barrier.
Mhm.
Okay, you put that in a vial, right?
Yes.
Can I see it? I want to test something.
Sure.
With the vial, standing on the precipice, this might backfire, but it's better that this hurts Uryte than it hurts Howlite. He's going to hand the blood from the side of his hand that is outside the barrier to the hand that's inside, see what happens, and then quickly hand it back to his other hand to see if it comes back to being, her bloody magic wind stuff.
While still sealed inside the thing.
Uh-huh.
Since I'm also here and magic and stuff, can I also help? Like help watch, observe?
Sure, you can help watch, observe.
Because I can also cast detect magic.
Do
Do you wish to cast detect magic?
I can do detect magic.
And you see, my genius experiment was I was going to pick up a bunch of dust off the thing and blow it into the thing to see if it just stopped the wind and the dust would just hang in midair and float down.
Well, that's cool.
That's a good idea too.
Yeah.
If we can
Alright,
still
I
see the
cast
dust.
detect magic.
Alright. So you pass it through the gate, and on the other side of the gate, it does not appear magical. And as you pull it back, as soon as it passes through that gate, the barrier, it appears magical once again.
Oh, that's interesting.
So it's not, the wind is still there.
It is.
Yeah. He'll like hand her vial of her blood. Just the magic's still there. The wind is still there. It's just making it to where it's non-detectable.
Perhaps a better term is paused.
Yeah,
How strange.
it's just wind.
And that would kind of explain why it hurts so much. Because if it's that kind of paused it even while it was sealed in a container, I imagine what you saw when it was open is much more accurate of it trying to literally pause the wind inside your veins.
I need to test
When you get
something
wounded.
then. Okay. Howlite's gonna open up their senses and just step past the barrier again, trying to keep very closely tied to the little bit of magic they're able to cast, their levitate spell. Do I feel like my magical connection to that is weakened when I step into the town?
Can you give me a perception check?
Sure.
Howlite has like a faint aura around her, like a normal person with magic and such would. Yeah.
Howlite's is actually stronger than an average person's.
Does that get dimmer as she comes in?
I'll answer after this perception check.
Woohoo!
Pretty
That's
good.
really good. It's faint, but slightly. You feel it weaken slightly.
Hmm.
And Uryte, you also notice, like, the aura becomes much more similar to an average person.
Celsus, do you see this?
Yes, I do.
I feel
As
it too.
comparison, I assume I could walk across and see if it's only affecting wind or just all magic in general.
That's
That
good.
Do you wish to?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just standing outside at the moment, so I'm just gonna step in.
Erevan's does not change.
How do I look like half in, half out? Anything for me?
Uryte is also fine.
No.
I believe it might be the nature of myself in some way. I feel it too. I just feel slightly more tired. Slightly more incapable.
Slow?
Yes,
Lethargic?
like the wind itself.
It has taken the wind from your sails.
Funny.
Ha.
I'm gonna step outside and try that dust thing I mentioned.
Yeah, let's
Pick up a handful of dust in my palm and just it towards the gate, blow it towards the gate.
Yeah, as it hits the gate, the dust does pass through, but it immediately, like, loses any and all velocity.
I wonder, have we tested this? If I just am through the gate and I just try and like blow my hand, like just
fan yourself or
or anything like that, is there anything?
It feels like less than it should be, but it is still there.
Okay.
It's like a very weak spell, probably, so that it could be this large of an area. Does that track?
We probably look like we're crazy people just standing here.
I think
blowing
what
on
we've
ourselves.
gained from having Howlite walk through is seeing that it's not complete nullification, it's more just a...
Reduction?
And it's not
Yeah.
any magic, it's specific magic.
Yeah, it's abjuration.
Am I?
It's specific to wind as well.
What type of magic's on me, pray tell? I'm not sure I actually know the answer to that.
But either way, it looks like it's a dome centered on town. We should probably go investigate where it came from. See if we can find its source.
I feel like it would be best if I didn't spend longer than, well, a few hours in the city. Definitely not
Well,
overnight.
then you can help our enchantress friend.
Wouldn't mind doing that. That would be nice.
While we search.
I still do want to get food.
Yeah.
Let's go get food then.
I don't think it will kill me to stay in here for just a short bit.
Just don't cut yourself.
And this is the point where the zombies decide to attack in the day, and then Howlite and fucking dies.
If that happens, I am running!
Later, nerds!
Yes, and if we investigate the well, I do believe I'll keep my hands to myself, lest there be a sharp corner. I feel like a balloon walking into the middle of a room full of pins.
There was talk of going and investigating the fountain.
Let's go to the fountain.
Headed.
Cool. You come. The fountain is a fairly large fountain, center of town, probably like 10 to 12 feet in diameter. Just a singular, like big, like pillar structure in the center, and then water comes down off of it. How old does it look?
Hey.
Make me an investigation check. With all of the proper upkeep of the fountain, you have no idea how old this fountain is. It looks pretty new. Your eyes.
Can I roll with advantage since I'm a stonemason?
Absolutely, I was hoping you would say that.
I always love
Stone boy, stone boy.
It's kept in well condition despite the undead attacks, and it's probably mostly because whoever's cleaning it is trying to clean up all the undead, like,
Filth.
grime. But it's probably roughly 60, 70 years old.
Older than the attacks.
Older than the attacks by quite a large margin. Just kind of looking around in the area too, the paths, like the cobblestone paths, seem to be about the same
Age
in this area,
same
like
time.
it was installed.
As one thing as the town center. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Do we know how old this town is offhand?
Who's proficient in history?
I believe I am.
I am too.
No, I'm not. Sorry. I'm proficient in religion.
Wesley? Are you
Nope.
proficient in...
Oh wait, yes I am.
I was about to say, I know you are.
Why did you know I was, and why did you ask if you knew?
Because
They want to make you do work.
Trying to remind myself.
I was like 90% sure that you were, because you're a wizard, and it's one of your like two things that you take as like a wizard most of the time.
Arcane in history.
Arcana in history, or investigation in history. But those proficient in history, roll me investigation, or roll me history. I'm stupid.
Those
me
proficient in
investigation.
history, don't use it. Fuck your
no.
skill, I just wanted to make sure you took the useless skill. Alright.
Uryte, you're from a different continent.
Yeah, exactly.
Celsus, though, knows that this town has been around for 80, 90 years old, maybe approaching 100.
Okay.
So this has already been an established town by the time this fountain got put in. Okay.
Yeah.
Still relatively new, though.
It was probably added as, like, the city started to grow as, like, an actual, like, town instead of just a bunch of houses.
I didn't check the age of the wall, but it's probably roughly the same age as the wall.
You could probably hazard a guess that, yeah.
Just out of curiosity, does Celsus also learn where the people that founded this town came from?
Yeah, it was actually founded as a major trade route between Keldaro and Priam,
Ooh.
by the Priam aristocracy. Mostly people from Saith and Akrail.
I just wanted to make sure there wasn't a possibility for, like, ooh, little mixing conflict. Like, maybe there's some people from Keldaro living here, and they had to work together with the people from Priam, and there was, like,
There's definitely people from Keldaro living here at this point, but that's mostly because they're merchants that have turned to settling down.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay.
There hasn't been really any hardships between Keldaro and Priam. They've been mostly they've got a fairly good relationship, and Priam and Keldaro have recently married off their two royalties to kind of merge the countries because Priam's economy wasn't doing the best.
Didn't have enough population or production to really compete, so it's joining the bigger polity next to it.
Yep. Priam mostly has, like, fish to sell, and they don't have a lot of farms, while Keldaro has a shit ton of farms and wood and etc.
Well, Priam is on a... Just looking at the map, Priam's on a great trading hub area, but if they don't have the products to sell, they're kind of fucked.
Yeah, they really did not, which is why they married off their princess.
That does give Keldaro one hell of a coastline in port.
Yeah, they married off their princess. Priam's princess was named Merwin Silith, now named Merwin Keldon, married to Reeve Keldon, who is the current prince about to take the throne because his father is old. And he has a set of twin younger sisters named Merrild and Mauve Keldon. And Merwin, this would probably be known at this point. Merwin and Reeve are currently expecting. World Lord Westley, how aware is Celsus of, like, political conflict?
Celsus seems like the type to be aware they're going on, but, like, unless it's a place that he's currently in, not really care.
Okay, so you would have known this because you were in Saith for quite a while, and Saith is one of the big places in Priam. The reason that Merwin was married off to the Keldaro Empire, was because essentially she was caught having relationships with one of the servants.
Wow.
And this servant got full on banished from everything, and
guys, we gotta find the servant and make him an important character.
Oh boy.
Important.
You would know that. How do I say this in a world important way? She's a lesbian.
That's what I thought you were about to say.
I see.
Can't have the crown being gay now, can we?
Precisely.
Yeah. Okay. So it's classic medieval.
She's also an elf. Her parents are both elves, and she was caught with a half elf, which, yeah.
Wait, the kingdom was led by elves.
Yes.
And the servant was the elf, and the servant was the half elf.
It's a half. So there's a lot of
There's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit there.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay, Kat, stop making me invested in reuniting the gays. Stop it.
That's why Katie made them gay, I'm sure.
Exactly.
You know my thing! Fuck you!
You would also know that the Celsus, the aristocracy of Priam, push their kind of mild prejudice for humans aside in order for their daughter to be married to a noble man, because the Keldons are humans.
I see.
Okay. I have to ask this actually for world building lore. I'm just really curious. What is the
So yes.
What is the world's general perception on homosexuality? Actually, is it really like against God everywhere? Is that still the idea?
No, it's for the general.
Gay people can't make an heir.
Hmm?
It's that for the royalties, they don't want their children to not be able to produce heirs.
Okay,
So it's
that makes
not that
sense.
they don't hate the gays, it's that it's like, okay, well, I guess that means you can't have the child.
No, generally, homosexuality generally is fine. People don't really care unless you're in the stuffy aristocracy.
I want to guess that like certain churches might also be against it. My first instinct was that Palor's against it.
I mean, as long as you're not trying to do stuff in the darkness, Palor probably doesn't give a fuck.
As long as you're not in the closet about it, you're fine.
So basically, as long as you have sex with the lights on, so he can
Thank
see.
you.
Let God see the lesbians, for he too wishes to look upon them.
I phrased that so badly, but at the same time, this
Praise
is probably
the
Oh,
This is
God.
either getting cut out or this is going to be the best part
Oh,
of
I'm
this
putting
episode.
this in.
Either way.
Will be the best part of that.
Don't fucking tempt me. This is staying
This
in.
will be the best part of Mists. I'm sorry, Katie. It's only going downhill from here.
What? Okay,
New
so
plot
actually that's
line.
like legitimately good to know, because that means... Alright. Howlite's gonna come up to it, and first and foremost, you said there's a pillar in the center, right?
Yep.
Is the water flowing down from top of it?
Yes.
Okay. I just kind of want to have them, like, get up on the sides of the fountain, just sort of try and avoid the water so they don't make a dumb scene and all of that, but, like, I'm looking for hidden mechanisms, because this is probably the center of the town, right?
All right.
Don't do it, Richard.
Don't push her. Don't push her.
No, not push her in.
Don't do it.
This entire time I've been resisting having Uryte just go to the side and start drinking.
Oh, that's fair. I just thought it would be really funny if you came over and kicked Howlite in. Anyway.
Don't tempt,
okay.
don't tempt
Are you-
Celsus, damn it.
How are you looking for the hidden mechanisms?
So my first instinct is there would be like a button underneath the very top of the pillar in like where the water's coming out.
Okay.
The
Are you
second
just looking, or are you like reaching, feeling around?
looking and feeling around, and if you don't mind, I would like to at least like, can I reason that I have at least a little bit of an innate magical sense? Not an amazing one, but like a little bit
Yeah.
of one.
Yeah.
Yeah, just kind of feeling around for the classic stings of magic, that sort of thing.
Yeah, sure. Give me investigation then.
All right.
Can I also roll investigation looking for any, like, hidden buttons or pressure plates in the masonry of
Yeah,
both
go
the
for it.
pillar and the...
Go for it, Mr. Stonemason.
Fuck! I still rolled better than Tali, I just don't have a good step.
Tali rolled a 2, and you rolled a.
I didn't crit fail.
You did not crit fail. Howlite, as you're like reaching around and feeling, it's so slick from all of the water, and like you just can't feel anything. If there's anything on this central pillar, it's just smooth.
Mm.
And there's the obvious like decorative like inlays and stuff, but other than that, it's smooth.
I keep having flashbacks to Branded while you're describing this. Good lord. You've ruined
You
fountains.
also
man.
find the etching
Good.
of a weird like letter S and
Fuck
then
off.
two
Fuck off, cat.
almost like it was carved in with
With a
like,
scalpel.
I don't know what type of weaponry that is. I've never heard of such a thing. Wow, what a very interesting spearhead. Oh my goodness, who are you? Turns around.
Oh, and now you're dead because you're not a person.
Now my soul gets erased. Okay.
Oh, you're a magical being, aka like a stand. Thus, you fall unconscious because of sound of silence. yes?
Fuck, Howlite's a stand. I didn't know that.
Ah,
Don't
frick.
worry, I just grab Killian and pull him into the fountain and kill him instantly in the water.
Yes. Future Tally, cut this out.
I will, but it's gonna be very funny to re-listen to that.
Erevan, as you're like feeling like looking at the stonemasonry and like looking for buttons or pressure plates or anything, you can't really find anything out of the ordinary. It's just solid stone. Very well made, solid stone. They must
Almost.
have imported this. Hired a dwarf that was coming through.
What if it's not on the fountain itself that the trigger is, but it's somewhere else in the plaza?
Possibly. Wouldn't hurt to look around. This seems to be the root cause of wherever the spell is coming from. The fountain is a little too obvious, I do agree.
A 22.
It's pretty exquisite.
This is a really, really, really well-made fountain. Like, this... Like, the stone is definitely, one, not from here. It's gotta be imported from, like, some really... Like, it's got such a smooth finish, and, like, this area is such a, like, hard farmland area that this stone is not from here.
I see. And what of the rusty chains attached to... Okay, I'm done.
Westley.
Like, there are, like, some of these, like, swirly, like, leaf patterns on the, like, central part, that kind of lead down into the, like, base of the fountain, and you find not necessarily, like, a symbol, but, like, an artist's signature.
Ooh.
Ooh.
The letters are just, JL.
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 That automatically makes me think an elf made it.
Does sort of sound like what an elf would do.
Elf.
Jesus
No, I
Christ.
just meant because of the leaves.
I have a thought. Just
When did
a
you get a
thought.
thought?
Yeah, seriously. What, you didn't bring it up for the whole class?
I'm in a full call full of them. What are you talking about?
Kat, I didn't know you were 5 people at once.
Tali, what did you have with it?
Yeah, Tali, what do you have to say?
Alright, no, I wanted to pull out my scrying orb. And because Howlite's
Okay.
not really, like... Howlite assumes Erevan's, like, the skilled stonemason, and this isn't their forte at all. So, while everyone's working, they're gonna pull the scrying orb out and just sit on a bench, like, just sort of watching and just, like... I want to focus on Kroskaval.
Okay.
I want to see if I can find where Kros is right now. Just out of curiosity, because I realized I haven't tried this yet.
Alright.
Is that an alright of you shouldn't be doing that, or an alright of oh god, here we go?
Okay. Alright, here we go. Okay. What's your spell save DC?
Hemocraft, which is 8 plus 2 plus 3, 13. Would I be able to get the bonus that they have on this down to like a +0? Because of how much Kros has been described to me? And like how much I know about him?
Hold on, let me look at the scrying.
Because it says secondhand knowledge if you've heard of them as a +5 for their roll, but like...
Hey, Tali.
Yes, huh?
We have possessions of his.
Oh, you're totally right! And we've also been described upon... Ooh, I didn't even see that. Lock of hair, bit of nail.
We don't have that one at least. I don't think we have that one at least.
Got an idea, though. I can take one of the papers that we were trying to transcribe, one of the mad scrawlings. I could take that as a focus.
Mm-hmm. That's why I was like, we have a possession of Garmy, possibly.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think if I could reasonably have gotten like a hair out of that laboratory too. I
I
don't
feel like we
think
might have to go
so.
back and get it if we wanted to.
I feel like that's a
Try.
stretch. I don't know, Kat, would you allow me to have gotten a hair from the laboratory?
If you had looked, and if you've gone back to look, we can, fudge this a little bit. You would not have found any hair.
Okay. He was careful about that stuff?
Pristine.
Okay. Good to
He doesn't
know.
want hair getting in his
But
potions.
possession? Yes.
Okay.
So it's a -4 on my roll.
It's a -4 on your roll, and I've also been described it, like, what he looks like pretty... Because he would also get the +5, or because it's only secondhand knowledge, so I would only be getting a -1 on the roll in total with that.
Then yes. To his wisdom save.
DC 13.
God fucking damn it, you stupid moron.
Did he fail?
You rolled a fucking 12.
Oh my god!
You rolled a fucking 12.
The
Hold
power!
on.
The power!
Your vision gets pulled into the orb for about a second before going down.
Ooh. Down. Down?
Down.
Down. Oh.
And your vision comes back to you after, like, you can't even tell what direction you went other than down, and like you felt yourself pulled in a direction but you don't know what. As your vision comes back to a very dark stone, almost crypt-like room, with several tables laid out along the sides, a very weird black salt circle in the center of the room with candles just on the outside of it for light, it seems like. The tables are mostly covered with papers and bottles and several quills that you can see, though they're kind of blurry because of how the scrying spell focuses on the target and not the outside surroundings. And out of like the right corner of your eye, you see like a very tall bookshelf and then a door leading out into more stone rooms. And then you see this hood, and like where the orb is pointing, you see kind of kneeling on the ground with a very like dark hooded cloak. A full elf, oddly like he's got like dark brown hair kind of pulled back messily with like some twine. A singular like large gray streak across like the left side of his hair that you can see, and you can see his hands are like covered in old burn scars from what you can assume is acid. Was Scrying give you sound?
Let me check real quick. I think so.
It does. You don't hear much. The one thing that you do hear, as like the man that you can only assume to be Cross, is like kneeling there, a quill in one hand, writing in this book, are heavy footsteps moving through the hallway. Very methodical, very like scheduled marching. Only one set of footsteps.
Is it possible for me to identify this as potentially minotaur-sized or larger?
Give me a perception check.
Okay.
It's too hard to tell how big it is because of how metallic the footsteps are.
Metallic? Okay.
It's like
their armor?
somebody wearing heavy armor.
Okay. Do I hear like the clinking of metal plate and such too?
Yeah.
Okay. That's scary. Alright.
How long does this last?
I've got 10 minutes.
Up to 10 minutes.
I am going to stay there, and I'm going to make sure, first and foremost, does Kroos look like he noticed that I'm scrying him?
No.
Is he still looking down at his book?
Yes.
Okay, so my vision's out of his line of sight. Is it possible...
I do believe you can move the orb as long as it stays within 10 feet of him.
Let me see.
So if you want to get to the other side of him.
I do, because that's where all the crypts are, right?
Yeah, and he does have to stay.
Yeah, I have to keep looking at him, so I'm just gonna swivel around so I can get a little bit of a look on the other side of the room.
Cool. As you swivel around, you're now facing away from the door and the supposed tunnels, wherever this man is. Behind him isn't much more of the room. There's maybe about 10 feet. One side has the very large bookshelf that you could see out of the corner of your eye before, and there seems to be like a singular bed, barely a bed. Can you give me another perception check?
Sure thing. That's a great fail. There's no way that the dark vision would help in this case, would it?
Yes, it would. Go ahead and re-roll that.
Okay. Okay, because I've got the night eye mutagen on, which would allow me to, like, see twice as well in the darkness.
Yeah, that would help here.
Okay, let's go again.
Oh, much better.
Oh, hell yeah.
You see this. You couldn't see it before because you couldn't see his forehead, but you see it now of, like, there is a, like, small, red, almost eye-shaped diamond rune and a couple other runes along his forehead.
I see. Okay. Oh, man. This guy's obsessed with the whole future sight MO. God damn, alright.
And you can see his mouth moving quickly. He's not making any sound, but he's mouthing whatever he's writing.
Okay, God, I have a question. This really worries me. This really worries me. Does he seem like he's in a trance?
No.
No? He seems perceptive? Conscious?
Yeah.
Okay.
His eyes are like flicking around. He glances up once or twice to look at like one of the bottles that's like sitting over like a small Bunsen burner across the room. Make sure it like doesn't boil over or anything.
Okay, he's still trying to do.
He's
okay.
aware.
That's good. He's not using any future sight quills. Just a general like scanning around thing though. How many quills are in the room? Like how?
Like half a dozen?
Okay, not too absurd a number.
No, like a normal amount for somebody who takes notes at different places as they do stuff around the room.
He's just like, oh yes, my bookshelf corner quill picks it up. yeah, I totally get that. All right. Let me see here. I've got papers, bottles, coils, tall bookshelf, hooded figure. The footsteps outside. He seems to be in some sort of crypt, and he's underground. That's a hell of a lot of good information. I think we were on the right track with the whole underground crypt thing.
Creepy fucking
Yeah.
red eye.
Which I
You
love.
didn't realize what direction you were pulled in, right?
I don't fully. I know it was down, but we're not sure
down.
where down. It might be
Okay.
under the forest for all we know.
I was gonna say, in my head, what that says to me is
Directly down.
he's
That's
like,
what I'm
directly
thinking.
down.
Like, he's literally beneath us right now in the city. That was my big, like, oh, fuck. But he doesn't seem to be preparing a spell. I was really worried we were going to find him, like, mid-cast of a spell that was going to be like, ahaha, I'm here. We didn't. He's still
Can you give me
working on
an
things.
investigation check?
Yeah, sure.
How intense would it be if he was like finishing a teleportation spell and then he teleports to right in front of us?
I'm gonna use the inspiration for that.
An 18, alright. What languages do you know?
I speak these languages.
But no, he's writing in Sylvan, you realize.
Mm.
And you see him write a word that is not in Sylvan, oddly enough. You don't know what language it's originally from, but he writes the word Gilamore.
Gilamore? Can you spell that for me?
Yes.
That's a scary... Okay. I'm gonna... Okay, I have advantage to recalling things. Howlite's gonna use their little memory trick and just, like, inscribe that name for a second in their head and just be like, Gilamore, that's important. They don't, like, say it out loud in their head or anything, assuming, magic word, saying names, dangerous and all that shit. So they just, like, look at it, and they know it exists. And that's as far as I'm going with that.
Yeah, do you want to try to pick up anything else that he writes in the sentence?
Yeah, sure. So, I do also want to take a look at the notebook that he's working in. How fresh of a notebook, I guess, is the best way to put it.
He's about a third of the way through this notebook.
Okay. Does it look well kept, or does it look all messy?
Yes, it looks very well kept.
Okay.
He seems to be writing down the top of the page. You pick up this. He's like starting this new page, like this fresh page, and he's writing down notes from like a couple other papers written in different handwritings than his own. The top of the page says, "Notes of the ruins of Gilamore."
Notes of the ruins of the... Okay.
I think we might want those if we can get them.
That's the good question of what's Gilamore and where is he speaking of? Okay. My first thought is he's in Gilamore right now. And that's somehow below the city, which is... What?
Or there's ruins deeper in the forest that he's currently investigating while, doing all his other things.
Yes, it's just like, it's much more like mind-boggling to me to think, oh my god, there was like a civilization beneath this town and they didn't even know it.
Because...
Okay. So I get that line, that he's writing down notes on Gilamore. And he doesn't seem to be panicked, he just seems to be a little
He seems, if anything, a little frustrated.
Gotcha, okay. Well, might as well do what I'm good at while I'm there. What does he seem to be brewing?
Yeah.
I know alchemy. I'm a moderately practiced alchemist.
I'm gonna need one more perception check, mostly just because all of the alchemy stuff would be out of focus.
Gotcha, so I'm not going to be able to see it very well?
No.
Okay. Come on, Howlite, don't fuck it up. Oh, that's good.
It's pretty good. Most of it seems to be like basic, like health potions. There seems to be like one greater like health potion that's the one that he's keeping an eye on, that he keeps looking up at. A potion of haste. You can tell by the golden color of it.
Ooh.
And that's none of the other ones you recognize. There's a couple of darker bottles, so you can't necessarily get the hue, but they seem to be something.
Do I get the feeling that these are all battle potions?
They almost seem like normal stock that a person would be putting in their shop.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was, like, confused on. Those aren't, like, oddly specific. Those are just basic potions, so, like...
Generic useful potions, even that non-adventurers would use.
Yeah, the health potions strike out to me as interesting in particular. He's trying to find all the cure and all that shit, but, like, it wouldn't just be basic health potions. They're definitely, like, basic health potions, yeah?
Yeah, they're like 2d4 plus 2.
Yeah, okay. Strange. Keep that in
Are you
mind.
going to stay the whole 10 minutes?
Unless I get a feeling that I should dip out, I think I am.
Alright.
I just want to
So
see
in
if
the
he starts
last
to move.
couple minutes, you hear once again footsteps, but you also hear like the squeaking of a wheel. And as you turn the orb so that you can see the doorway again,
Yeah, I'm going to.
you see a person walk by with a wheelbarrow full of stone.
Okay, with a wheelbarrow and a stone? I thought that was a wheelbarrow.
Is it a person or is it a corpse?
Yeah.
It's a person.
A person? Can I catch
He's
what race
not
they are,
alone.
or are they too
That's
fuzzy?
interesting.
They've got pointed ears.
Pointy ears, okay.
And you hear them, like, they stop. They pass by. You hear the wheel stop. The kind of quiet clink of two metal, like the metal feet hitting the ground as the wheelbarrow is set down, and then this taller elven of some kind, half elven, wood elven, some kind of elf, comes back into the room, kind of knocks on the stone framing of the doorway, and then says something in a language that you don't understand. Cross looks up and answers in the same language.
Is the dialect similar to Gilmore?
No.
No.
You get the idea that it's Elven, but you don't know enough of Elven to catch the full sentences. Like, Sylvan is similar, but Sylvan is much more strict grammar, where Elven has a little more give and take to it. So a lot of the verbs and how they speak.
The difference
It's
between
like
like
trying
Swedish
to-
and German.
Precisely.
Like they're similar, but if you know one, you still can't figure out the other immediately.
You do get one word,
Okay.
which is only because Sylvan and Elvish have the same root word for this word,
Okay.
which is the word of excavation.
Okay. Alright, that's helpful. That confirms my theory that they're looking for something down there. Okay. Wow. Wow, that changes so much. Okay, and then my 10 minutes are up, or is there anything else?
You would see, like, at the end, Cross, like, nods, closes the book, picks up his quill and his ink, and then moves to exit the room with this man.
Okay, as I follow Cross out of the room, how far do I get? Can I swivel around and
get
sort of see
about-
outside the room?
You get about, like, 5 seconds of what you can see of the hallway. It's a very dim stone, smooth carved, obviously not natural tunnel with, like, insets into the walls where they place candles and or lanterns.
Okay. I have 2 potential things I'm gonna do. I want to ask everyone else which one I should go for. Do I try and find the thing guarding the room, or do I try and find the pile of rubble?
Pile of rubble.
Yeah, sure. Let's go with rubble.
Okay, using my double dark vision, I'm going to try and wheel around to where the wheelbarrow went and look for the pile of rubble.
The pile of rubble in the wheelbarrow?
Yeah, he set the wheelbarrow down and presumably, like, dumped it out, yeah?
Oh no, the wheelbarrow is still full. It's just like right next to the door as Cross like exits. This guy like picks up the wheelbarrow again and starts pushing it off as Cross follows him.
I misinterpreted those sounds, I suppose.
Yeah, no, he just set it down. He didn't dump it out.
Okay. I'll still look at the wheelbarrow just to get a better look at what's in it then.
You might have just said, yo man, I've got the next load from the excavation site.
Yeah, probably. Like, I'm sure
So
it
they're
wasn't
gonna go
anything...
through it looking for like pottery and
Maybe they're...
relics.
Maybe they are looking for some sort of mineral. I don't know. I do want to look at it and see if, like, is it just stone or does anything, like, stick out?
It seems to be stone. It's not very thick. You get the idea that it was probably taken from like a collapsed like building, as there's like some like iconography on parts of it.
So it's not just like mined out of a wall. This was something someone built?
Yeah.
That's so bizarre. Okay. Oh, that's a good idea, Richard. I don't know if I'm able to do that before time's up. Cut.
Give me one more perception check.
Okay.
They are looking at the wheelbarrow.
There's a fucking crit. Oh yeah, good point. Did that like come from the lumber mill, perchance? That would be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
This looks like a fairly new wheelbarrow.
A new one, huh?
Yeah. It seems like there's not as much damage, there's not much rust on it. The oldest thing about it, like the only way you can tell that it's been used for a while is that the wheel is squeaky.
Guys, let's find who sold this man this wheelbarrow.
Okay, other theory.
It's just like a base copper wheelbarrow. There's not any like inscriptions or anything
I
on
think
it.
the identification we're gonna want to know is if the guy that is the necromancer can't come back, what if his assistant does and Tali just recognizes them?
That's also really possible that this other dude just lives here. But, theory, right?
Mhm.
He's got help in the city and all that, but like my other thought with the wheelbarrow, and this is just based on what I've learned about Kroos so far, dude just likes to keep things clean. I feel like it's totally possible he just meticulously cleans the thing.
Counterpoint, if that is true, he would not have a squeaky wheel.
Maybe? I don't know if that counts as cleanliness or functionality. I think they're different.
I still think he would be the type that the wheel's squeaking, that's gonna bother him.
I also find it interesting that it's a copper wheelbarrow. Like the basin's copper?
Yes.
That almost suggests to me, like... maybe that's more common than I think, but it almost suggests to me that something that would be held in it would be caustic.
Yeah, I mean, his hands did have...
Acid burns.
Yeah, so... That is possible that some of the stuff that gets held in it might be...
Well, I wonder if they're, like, excavating around, like, acid lakes and, like, deposits of acid down there or some shit.
Or if they're excavating with acid.
Acid splash against the wall!
If they're using acid to carve a way to get stuff out...
Maybe, actually. That's
they don't
totally
have to
possible.
mine.
I'm still stuck on the thing of, like, your site was pulled directly down.
Same. Alright, so yeah, in that 10 minutes, they'll be doing that, but when they come out, they're gonna just be like, oh, fuck.
Right. Everyone else as...
In that
Howlite.
can I investigate the rest of the central square?
Sure. Go ahead and give me
I want to try
investigation.
to can I use my masonry to get an
Yeah.
advantage?
Definitely. All of the masonry seems about the same across the entire town.
Outside the fountain and inside the fountain, I want to try to see if I can't find any sort of, like, markings that would denote, oh, this is being moved a lot. You know, like, drag marks.
Oh, drag marks where? Around the fountain?
Yeah, around the fountain and inside the fountain.
Go ahead and give me another perception check as you're looking for these drag marks. There are no drag marks. It doesn't seem like the most that it seems like scuffed. It's like a little ways away from the fountain where like carts are like moved. But there's nothing inside or like directly outside of the fountain that would say be drag marks.
Yeah, I got nothing. Seriously, nice fountain though.
It is indeed a well-crafted fountain.
Celsus complimenting something. What are the odds?
I didn't say that I like it. I said that it was well-crafted.
Still a compliment.
I'd still count that as a compliment coming from you.
Well, it's just an objective fact.
Well, I guess we're not gonna find anything else here. Guess we could check Carlos's lab again, or lumber mill.
Or wait for whatever she's doing over there.
Don't worry about her. She's just pondering her orb.
My orb.
Ponder the orb. Isn't that the scrying orb from back in the tower?
I don't know. I wasn't there for that.
I wasn't talking to you, I was talking to Celsus.
Yes, I believe so.
That makes sense.
Are we sure that's safe?
Oh, yeah, probably.
Not at all.
If I remember what she told me, she was just gonna try to see if she can't find Kroos.
The necromancer?
Yeah,
Or at least who we suspect is the necromancer.
yeah. I figure he was an alchemist more than a wizard, so probably doesn't have any way to, like, see any scrying doohickeys or whatnot, right? Probably?
Alchemists are wizards.
What?
Wait, but I thought...
I can see invisible things.
There's a note to add to this for later.
Sorry, what?
Alchemists.
He says that's not normal.
I can cast see invisibility.
Huh. See, I did not think that was something in a alchemist repertoire, but that would make more sense. I'm just gonna mark that down here. Do not forget this.
Both alchemists and wizards are most known to be curious. Or more accurately, are more driven by their curiosity than many others.
Looks at Celsus.
What?
So what are you curious about?
I said tend to be. He seems to be driven by his ego.
Celsus resists the urge to say, I'm curious as to why we're staying here.
Roll me a wisdom save. No. You don't have to.
Am I up to pull out of the scrying orb at this point?
Yeah. As
Okay.
you are like being pulled out of it, I do need you to make me a wisdom saving throw.
That's
Hey,
interesting.
That's fun.
You're fine.
If only I could
I'm
do another-
fine.
Tali, you barely escaped with your life.
I'm fine. Anyway, they come out not thinking twice about that because they don't know anything weird happened. Blink open, probably sitting on a bench. Wave the others over, just like, get over here, you have to hear this.
See, I told you she'd be fine.
Fine is a relative term. I would not use the word fine right now. More so, very, very, well, curious.
Oh wait, you're a wizard now too?
What?
Alchemists and wizards are driven by their curiosity.
Oh no, I'm very different from a traditional wizard. Where do I begin with this?
At the beginning?
The beginning. That is a good point. Well, I found Kroos, and he seems to be somewhere. They look down at the cobblestone floor. Somewhere below.
Below the town?
Possibly. He was in a crypt of some sort. He had a whole alchemist setup down there. But more interestingly, it seems to be that him and some other sort of elf are excavating someplace. Very interesting name. Now, I'm going to write this down for the sake of safety. I don't want to speak anything particularly dangerous, as they're going to try and write down in Gilamore and share the word with everyone else and just be like, do any of you know what language this is?
If I was playing a dumb character, I would definitely have them read the name out loud after you wrote it.
Do I recognize the language?
Nope.
Hang on, I think I know what I need to.
It's
love-
celestial.
Celestial. That sounds about right. Okay. I figured.
I love that we've coined the term uncommon.
Gilamore is a contracted word for the two words of Gilamonte Moor.
That sounds like a place.
Moor means roughly of bottom of a valley in Celestial, and Gilamonte means roughly the resting place of the chosen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks like the funny language that I had to use this same spell on earlier. Whenever we were talking about the
The city which
Aletha.
vanished. Yes.
Hmm.
I did
What a coincidence.
get a feeling it sounded somewhat similar.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, Aletha means lifted up to God. This means that, so maybe it's where Aletha once was, is what they're looking for.
Maybe.
Or
But it seems more to me like this is a name for the crypt they were in. Which, to continue my explanation, he's not alone. There was another another, how'd you put it? Another
Being.
with control over their own soul still? Yes, some taller man.
Mortal.
Seemed also to be elven, helping with the only thing I was able to really garner from this, some sort of excavation, and it seemed they were speaking this language. Different one from that right there.
Can you remember anything of what they said?
Am I able to recall any words and phrases and just sound them out, Kat?
Yes, with your memory thing, yes.
Hell yeah.
do I recognize them as Elvish?
Yes.
Ooh.
Elvish.
Ooh.
They're speaking Elvish. They are a pair of. They are an elf and a half elf.
Yes, it seems like a dialect of some sort. I can't really tell, but I was able to sound out most
The way
of the
that
words.
Howlite sounds this out, specifically for Erevan. Erevan, what kind of elf are you?
I'm a half elf.
Right. You would recognize this as there's two different ways that Howlite recreates them talking. And when it's this guy who's carrying the wheelbarrow, it's much more of a wood elven dialect. There's some words that are shortened, and there's tonal hits that are different than Cross's, who is a much more high elf dialect.
Zarby elves.
Are we able to get anything from what she remembers using guy who speak Elvish?
Guy who speak Elvish, you get the idea that essentially what the guy with the wheelbarrow said was, the next patrol is coming through. We should leave with this shipment while we are here, before we die is the direct
Before
translation.
we die.
Patrol?
Okay. Okay.
And they not
There are
controlling undead?
patrols happening somewhere.
So, how much do you all think the likelihood is that this... Just putting this out on the table here from what we know here. This whole investigation seems to be somewhat sour to me this whole time, and I think I'm just not putting it into words. What do you suppose the likelihood of this man, who is an expert alchemist and spends his whole life devoted to this study, what do you suppose the chance is that this man suddenly turns full 180 degrees around and becomes a necromancer?
Yes, I've been saying that's been unlikely.
Crazier things have happened.
Well, let's see. Based on that and that, and Roughly 26% chance.
I believe
How
we
do you
should
come up with
lower
that?
that considering the new information was found. It does appear that neither of these two were necromancers. And he was still doing alchemy down there.
Oh yeah, how did he look?
Just because you gain a new skill set doesn't mean you lose an old one. I might be a paladin now, but I still know my way around masonry.
An art as complicated as bringing back the dead is not one easily learned. So either he was hiding his practices, or he's gotten help. Or the third idea that I'm starting to ponder even more so is he might not even be at fault at all.
Fourth option, maybe? He accidentally woke up something he shouldn't have.
Possibly. It would explain
Either
the
way.
undead.
How did Cross look, by the way?
Seemed in good health, albeit a little bit angry.
It's the word you might be looking for, frustrated.
Pardon?
They're equal, pretty much, aren't they?
Don't see much of a difference in this context.
Yeah, kind of same on that one. But alright, at least he didn't look like he was possessed or anything. That's good.
He did not. He had some interesting symbols engraved on his forehead.
Hold on. When Reine had been taken over, when me and Celsus were talking to Reine about being taken over, did we ever get her to mention the voice she heard in her head?
I don't remember.
I don't think she did mention
I
it.
don't think so.
Think she said that I picked it up and heard a voice, and I don't think we ever got her to describe it as the thing.
That sounds possible.
Since Reine's not here, can we just have that
I
described?
could totally be like,
and
yes.
Can I ask then Tali the description of the voice of the man she heard? See if they're the same people.
Right, we
Either
assumed
of
that was
Are the
Kroos,
people that took over.
but it might not be.
Because
Very
if
well
they
might not
aren't,
be.
then they just left to go, do find the saving of the world things, and there's just an entirely different necromancer fucking around now.
Yeah, the plot twist is these are two completely unrelated incidents.
No, I think that's very likely, actually.
If that
but-
is what's going on, we can more or less determine that and then move on the necromancer when the
Yeah, I
power
can
is there,
totally-
and then follow up on that later as the ongoing thing of trying to figure out what's going on with this alchemist.
It might be a little hard, is what I'm trying to say, because we're going off of Reine's memory from mind control and Howlite's memory of a hazy voice. So it might be handy to have someone who's good at dialects around help us in this, because Howlite is not good at that shit. Like, flat out. I what they would say is probably, yes, he was a man. End of statement, right? Like,
Yeah.
their concept of tonal differences is very tilted. It's not good. So I can't say that I would accurately describe Kroos, and I definitely don't think Reine would accurately describe the voice. But if someone asked leading questions to them, I think that we could.
I think I have one idea of how we could get this to work.
I think if asked, Reine would describe scary.
Yeah, probably.
I have an idea of how to make this possibly work.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone know how to read minds?
No.
Celsus raises a hand. Well, I can't do it often, so I would have to do one now and one tomorrow.
I'm not entirely sure how I feel about that concept, but... well... it's effective.
I won't go poking around, I don't care enough to.
Promise you'll
Believe it
never
or
go in
not,
my
that's
head.
more reassuring than, well, you might think. Very well, let's find the kid.
I just promise you won't try going poking around my head.
No,
No, seriously, you don't want to go in there.
I don't make promises.
Just gonna make a note of that. Wait, why?
You should never give someone or something your word lest it be twisted.
Huh.
It's easier to avoid if you simply never get into the habit of it. Have you ever heard the story of those who lost their names in the Feywild?
I mean,
You haven't,
Ava, who's
which
been
is
here
the
the
point.
entire time, goes, I have.
Yes, exactly.
you didn't lose your name in the Feywild, did you?
No.
Celsus?
I don't believe I did.
I'm curious, what is this Feywild you're speaking of?
Another dimension.
It's another plane.
What?
Another plane.
Yes, I came across it in my studies many times.
There's a whole bunch of them. You can transport to them. There's weak points in the entire material plane. There's lots of stuff out there. Lots of places you don't want to go.
Is there a desert?
Fuck if I know. I've never been out there.
I wasn't aware that there was... This is fact? This isn't just tale?
Yeah.
I've heard people insist on other worlds. I did not realize they were coming from a place not of folklore.
If you want folklore.
I have
I've
a
got
lot
some.
of that. Believe me.
That's the fun thing about folklore, though. There's always a hint of truth.
You do not need to lecture me on it. I'm well aware.
Reine is being held in the infirmary ward because Genevieve needs like full 24 hours to prep the spell, and then it's going to take, I believe, like, it takes a long time to ritual cast regenerate.
Clarify for me real quick, but didn't Reine have an eyeball mark on her as well when we first met?
She had a tracking rune. I wouldn't call it necessarily an eyeball.
Did not look like the thing on Cross.
No.
Okay.
Paladin boy might recognize.
Sort of seemed like a religious symbol the way it was done, but I don't know.
Not
Anyway,
of Paylor,
Let's
so
find the kid. Let's get to the kid and let's do the thing.
Yeah. I'm not going to voice Reine. I'm just going to kind of say this happens,
Yeah.
and I'm going to have Westley roll me just flat intelligence. I'm assuming neither Howlite's not resisting.
Unlikely.
Depends. To what degree can you specify resistance?
The detect thoughts spell.
Because I'll allow him to see anything regarding the scrying scene, and literally everything else I'm going to immediately defend against.
Does Howlite think in images?
That's a good question.
Good question.
Or does she think in words?
Are you saying, like, do I picture things versus not picture things?
Yes. Like, in
Definitely
your
picture
when
things.
Howlite... Yeah, okay, cool. So you would see, like, small images as well as, like, audio, like the voice.
Mhm.
I like to think they also think in feelings. So you would get the sensation. You would get the sensation of the unease that they were feeling looking at this whole scene too, probably.
Okay.
Yeah, you immediately get, these are not the same voice.
Okay.
You literally needed to roll a 5.
I see. They're that
They're
different.
drastically different. Cross is very much a softer, more reserved voice, while the one that Reine heard was raspy, like, and condescending, intimidating,
Okay.
and much, like, brasher.
Okay.
Am I seeing the other person too?
You would
Does it-
see, little bits of him.
Does it seem like that voice would
No.
match that
No. Not at all.
Okay.
And with Reine, there was also a sensation of that cold, like, clawing presence, right?
Yes.
Does that go through to Celsus?
You would get the vague, like, somebody directly telling you what happened to them, kind of like a secondhand, but he wouldn't feel it directly.
And lastly, can I roll?
No, I'm not actually going to have you roll religion. I need you to roll history.
Oh, okay. Same
You
roll.
gotta do 6 too if you need it.
You would realize that this rune, like little set of like almost like runes that span like most of his forehead they're not tattoos, they're not anything religion. No, it's something that is mentioned in history books like once or twice of a rare power referred to as the Rune Children,
Hmm.
which are
Interesting.
a type of sorcerers essentially, who, when using magic, have these small amounts of runes flare on their forehead, and they have like this innate magical quality and energies, as they have like natural runes kind of all over their body that, as they get more powerful, they learn to control.
Interesting. Does that mean that he was a sorcerer who decided, I also want to be a wizard?
Who knows?
I'm saying that to everyone else, not to you.
Oh, poor
Anyway,
Phil.
as soon as I have that, I'll just get out. Celsus shakes his hand. The hand that Reine doesn't have anymore. Oh, yes, I do have that, so good.
So,
It was all she could think
hmm.
about. Celsus says, as if that is uncommon for someone to be thinking about how they lost a limb.
Are they similar or are they different? What is your verdict?
Oh, they are completely different.
Okay.
So why did they think that it's him that did it then?
Ava kind of like pokes up a hand. Coincidence?
Might just be when he
The universe is
disappeared
rarely so kind.
I was going to say, might just be that when he vanished happened to be coincided with some other event and he never got an opportunity to explain himself.
It's also possible that he simply has a third ally that we have not seen.
Very possible.
Which...
I think before we make any assumptions again, I think it would be best to find out where this crypt is. If it's beneath the city and the people here insist there's no subterranean topography of any sort, well, there's something wrong there.
He's had 20 years to move. If he's still relatively close, I don't know the range of the scrying spell. Do you know the range of the scrying spell?
And I do not believe there is one.
Is there, Celsus? You're more likely to know this than I am.
It has to be on the same plane of existence, that's it.
So he could be anywhere on this plane of existence.
Now that narrows it down.
He's had 20 years to move. He could be anywhere, but I think the name of the location, the grave of the fallen in the bottom of the valley, well, at least gives us an idea that we might be looking for a valley, something near the bottom of it. Was this location or the forest that we're next to in the bottom could be considered in the bottom of a valley? I don't know.
This place is flat as fuck.
This
I
place
thought there
is
were
flat as
no
fuck.
mountains anywhere near us, so I was going to say, no, I find it very unlikely that This might make more sense to you, Erevan. How about the concept of a metaphor? Yes? What say this bottom of a valley isn't literal? It's simply a name. Does not need to be exact.
It could also have been named when the topography was different.
Very likely what I was considering. If this is beneath this city currently, it would have to be very, very ancient architecture. Especially considering this city is no more than a century in age. So, why not rule out here first? We're still here. If he does happen to be on the other side of the continent, well, there's not much we can do about it.
No, I guess there is not.
Knowing that there were construction tools, I suppose, in use. He had a basin with a wheel on it. He was carting around stone. I do believe it's even more reasonable to go look into this lumber mill now.
Should we go as a group then, or should we have
Didn't
some
we
of
want
us
to look
wait?
at the his place again?
True.
I am curious about it.
We can start there and then head out.
Yeah.
Considering we don't know how many are working together, I think staying together at this point is smarter.
Don't you guys still have like a few days on the
Yes.
shields as well? Okay.
Yes, we
Yeah,
do.
it's gonna be down on the 16th, if I remember right.
4 days.
I'm not very practiced with one, but having it will certainly make me feel a lot more capable. So, it would be nice to have that before we go into any crypt of unknown origin.
I would say me too, but those things are too fucking big.
You are quite small.
Yeah.
If you want, you can wear one on your back like a turtle. And
I have
whenever
met-
you're in danger, you just simply curl down underneath it.
Or maybe we just let him stay behind us so that he doesn't end up in danger.
That's probably a better idea. I just thought it was funny.
I think you need to get a better tone inflection to be funny.
No,
Tone
Otherwise it comes
inflection?
off as you might actually be serious.
but she was half serious, though.
No, I was not serious at all.
Shh.
What?
He doesn't know that.
She looks at Uryte just like... I
At
think
this,
there's
I'm going
something
to
here I'm
heft
missing
my axe
again.
just out of the sheath long enough to scoot the handle over and bonk Uryte on the head with it.
Howlite just sits there with a puzzled look on their face like, what does he mean tone?
You're lucky that I don't like how human, elf, etc. flesh tastes, young man.
Young man, I'm probably older than you.
He snorts at that and starts walking towards the fucking building.
What does he mean tone? Howlite sits there for a moment before as they leave.
I love this.
Good. How old is Erevan, I wanted to know?
40.
Alright, so you're heading back to
The lab.
the lab.
The lab.
Okay, so you walk back down into the kind of dark, dank basement. But what do you wish to do?
I'll do the floor this time, I guess.
Go ahead, Mr. Stonemason. Go with advantage.
Mr.
Investigation, I assume.
Yes.
While he's checking the floor, Howlite's just gonna say like, Ava, you wouldn't happen to know of any sort of acid that's used for excavation, would you?
You would probably take a low-grade acid and it would use it to like trace over like soft stones if they had become like flattened out. If you still had like an outline, you could make them crisp. But that's only for soft stone. I don't know what kind of stone is underneath the city.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Erevan, you're looking at the stone and it's solid. It's just some smooth stone. Like you move, like there's like a small rug underneath one of the tables and you like move that and like just more stone.
Yep, I got nothing, guys. This looks like a normal stone floor to me.
Yeah. He would check behind his desk.
Gently move his desk that's got like a bunch of like bottles on it, trying not to knock them over, and you see more of the like kind of carved brick wall behind the desk. There's nothing out of the ordinary. Some like old acid stains from like when he like tipped over a bottle of acid against the wall and it like dripped down. Minor corrosion, minor like scorch marks. Nothing out of the ordinary.
Okay.
How's the wind down here?
Good question. Is it still still?
I mean, you are underground, so naturally it is pretty still.
Does it still have that, like, that taste, or however you would describe it up top does?
Last time I was in here, I checked it, and it did not seem too out of the ordinary, but it wouldn't hurt to do it again.
You want to compare it to the up top?
Yes, and I'm not going to do anything stupid like prick my finger.
Oh, can you give me just perception? Yeah, it feels normal. It doesn't feel like up top, though all of the doors are, like, the front door is closed, so there's no air coming in from the outside.
But it doesn't feel like it's going to attack me if I were to get caught down here.
No.
It's still, however, how do I put this? It's not spiky. They say looking at you with like a tilted head. It does not feel as if it would attack me. So
let's try something stupid.
I'd rather you guys didn't. You guys are supposed to be the smart ones here.
I'm not
Stupid
taking
in a
part
smart
in
way.
this.
I try to create a small puff of wind.
You create a puff of wind. The dust kicks up a little bit.
That's not supposed to do that.
So whatever the spell is only affects the surface?
Hang on a second. Uryte goes out the door, up like 2 stairs, tries again.
Or much like with your bottle, it doesn't affect enclosed areas.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, the wind does not happen.
Goes down like a few more stairs.
Nope. No, it does not happen.
All the way down to the base of the stairs, like right outside the door.
Still doesn't happen.
Inside the door, but the door is open.
It happens.
That's weird. So,
It might just be this room.
yeah.
Something would have to be written into this room in order to counteract it. Did they say whether or not this room was insulated with lead, by chance?
If I remember correctly, I think it was.
Well, if it is, there's your answer.
Or even then, if it's not lead, it might have just been thick enough stone.
Yes, though that would mean that when the door was open, it still
Didn't
Still worked.
it still worked, which wouldn't have been the case.
Yes.
Somebody want to make me a perception check at advantage?
That's pretty good.
Oh yeah, you notice this, like, as you stepped back through the door, on, like, the outside where the door hits the door frame, there's little runes inscribed into the door frame.
Makes sense.
That's weird. Okay, maybe that's why. He'll point out the runes to everyone else.
Ah, yes.
Very cautious man indeed.
How did I miss that?
The same way I missed that the air functioned down here. I suppose we just weren't having our wits about us that day.
We hadn't quite realized the gravity of what we were in yet. Was our first night here.
But wouldn't something like this, Celsus here, the big wizard man here right now, for something like this, wouldn't you need to have more than just an entrance point? I guess what I'm saying is, don't you need more than just these runes?
Katie, does that sound about right? It sounds reasonable to me.
You would need an anchor point for whatever dimensions of, like, if you were making it a square, you would need a rune at each corner.
There would have to be a rune in each corner. Could be inside the walls.
I do know there are secret chambers in these walls.
I'm gonna go back to the first secret chamber I found,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna open that back up and see if there's a rune hidden in there that I didn't notice before because I wasn't looking for one.
Yeah, it's completely smooth. There's no engravings or anything in there.
Would you say this room is a perfect square or like a more rectangular?
More rectangular.
Where's the secret compartment? Uryte, if you do the little wind thing in the secret compartment,
He'll clamber up and just stick his hand in. Yep.
It does not happen.
Nope.
Okay. That means that we can basically say, for certain that it lines up with these walls. Because one thing that I considered is it's entirely possible that, the runes just go like this or something.
Howlite holds up a finger. If we're dealing with runic magic, there is one information bit I've picked up on my travels, and that is runes can be used to alter the mind's subconscious perceptions and wants, they say, looking at the open thing in the wall. So, if I were to want to hide something really badly in here, I would put a rune around it, which caused people to subconsciously not want to look there. So, they say, looking around, are there any corners of this room which you all find particularly uninteresting?
That's fun.
I feel like it would be rather difficult for those to not be detected by detect magic, though.
Well, no, let's
Well,
see, there's
then
And
actually
again,
magic.
I'm not the magic expert, so...
That
I was
goes
gonna say, there's
completely
actually
against
magic that blocks that.
whether or not it blocks it doesn't matter if you're not looking there.
Yeah. Let's see. If there's anything that's drawing my attention immensely, it would be that bookcase.
Right, my first instinct, they say, walking from here all the way to the other corner, is that there would be one right here. They say, hitting the wall right where the exact opposite side of the wall would be from the other secret compartment.
Oh, so
I'm gonna do something that seems too obvious to me, which is, if we left the door open, we might not have checked this back corner, because I imagine it swings into the room.
That's true.
That's also a
or
fair
swing
point.
in.
I like that. So we're
Along
both,
the
like,
wall,
on the
so
wall
I'm
over there.
thinking this back corner you might be onto something, and we just never really checked this back corner.
Because who would check there? It's behind the door, so everyone would
True.
ignore it. So maybe there's a rune there, maybe there's not even a rune there, maybe it's just like he assumes basic psychology. And, well,
Yeah.
wait! If the door's laced with iron, you wouldn't be able to see through the closed door! Because the closed door would block it.
Because the
Yeah.
layer of the door would block it.
Yeah.
Because if you're standing there with
Yeah,
magic
and-
there, and it would block it. So I'm just gonna come over
Wouldn't that
and
block detect
close
magic
the
too?
door.
Yes,
and check
that's
it
what
out.
I'm saying, is if you're
Nice,
looking
yeah.
here, you wouldn't be able to see in the corner
Yeah.
if there's magic there, because the door's like that.
Alright. Can y'all give me... Who's giving me investigation?
I know I
Me
am.
and Tali are doing two different investigations.
Let's go.
Yeah, Howlite, you find, like, there's this tapestry on the wall. And you, like, move the tapestry. And, like, exactly parallel where you think where the compartment is, you find some really nice stone masonry.
Thank you, Kat. Very, thank you.
Very nice
You're a
tapestry.
fucking bastard. I hate you.
Erevan, however, you do find a loose brick in the back corner where the door would be normally covering it up.
I was right. I'm gonna pull.
Yeah, behind the brick, you find a small, like almost, like no bigger than the size of your hand, notebook.
Oh. Oh.
You weren't entirely wrong. Howlite, as I gotta pull out the notebook and
Careful.
blow off the dust off of it.
It's very dusty.
They tilt their head.
Check.
You found something.
A notebook.
Was it
Double check
concealed
it for
or
any
was
sort
it...
of magic traps.
I'm gonna basically hold it back off my thing towards Uryte to check over.
Was there a rune there, or was it just door psychology?
It was just door psychology.
Okay.
Goddamn door
Honestly, I
psychology.
feel like that's more impressive.
That is.
It's good. It's real good.
I'm then gonna look over the brick, see if he put like the rune on a brick while he was doing the masonry. If the runes are just inlaid in the wall in the brickwork.
There is a small, like,
square rune on the inside of the compartment where you think, oh, this is probably where the corner is.
And that looks like a rune right there.
Nice.
So he inlaid it in the wall when he was building the room. Clever.
Erevan pulls out a pipe.
All right. I have a question. What kind of rune is that? Can I roll Arcana for that?
Sure.
Okay.
Oh, Mr. Rooney boy.
Can I give him the help action by pointing it out?
Sure.
Hey, I gave
Look,
you one.
Celsus, a rune!
It's there.
Look, a rune.
Oh my god, it worked! The pointy finger of help!
The rune
I'm
for
helping, I swear.
the rune for West.
Okay. Are the runes around the door more complicated?
Would you like to also look at those with your
Okay.
27 Arcana?
Yes.
It's
Yes.
they essentially each rune has like a different word meaning, right? So going down like the inside of the door frame, you get essentially don't look, hide away, magic, and then a weird one, which is time.
Time.
Time rune?
Okay, so here's what I was thinking of why I wanted to check this. Because if they're inlaid in the walls, and it was made when he was building the room itself,
Right.
the way that it was talked about seemed like this room was well established before all the crazy future bullshit happened.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Or
So-
at least renovated during the crazy future bullshit before he left.
Yeah, or something like that. So my basic thought was, okay, if this is just a general protect from this kind of thing, maybe it's not blocking specifically this spell, it's blocking something about the spell that would give us a bit more insight into what it is.
Seems just like an anti-magic rune to me. He's a normal... It's a normal thing for a wizard to have an anti-magic, like, work chamber, but the time rune is, like, the weird one.
Yeah.
It could be a duration type thing.
I don't think so. I think the time
Well,
rune...
I'm more aligned with Westley is. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a duration thing, but I would be slightly disappointed. This seems a little too weird.
And to me, that seems like an assurance, basically, that the magic in the quill doesn't get out of this room.
Whoops.
Yep, whoops indeed. So Howlite's gonna say this out loud and say, what if the time rune there was an assurance that the downfall of this town was not because of something someone did entirely, but more so what someone learned with the quill? What if he saw the future and it told him about someone else seeing the future, and that caused the downfall? So, that being said, where's the quill right now?
In a safe lead box.
Where?
With me at all times.
With you. Not the church?
Not the church.
Okay.
So it's just like, alright, safe.
It seems to be a daily journal of some kind.
Sets it up on the desk so everyone can read.
It's an odd thing. to hide
What
away in a
language is it
corner.
written in?
Except you're
Elvish.
paranoid about what
Oh
things
boy, I
are
know.
happening.
Can anyone else read Elvish, or shall I start reading this aloud?
Translation would be nice. I'm not that good with that dialect.
Yeah, I don't want to have to spend another 10 minutes just to have to read a page.
I could read you a sentence every 5 minutes. But
I'll
again,
read then. What's the
Yes.
notebook say?
It sounds like somebody who has come off of a drug trip
Yes.
and is now sober.
Hmm.
And it gives you a much more clear understanding of what he was writing with the quill.
The ramblings that we found, those were the high thoughts. Now we're in the clear thoughts.
Precisely.
This is the post taking LSD.
Fucking wizard drugs, god damn it.
We did identify that the thing made someone more addicted to using it. It could be classified as a
It
drug.
definitely counts as wizard drugs, yeah.
So this is his notes off the wizard drugs.
Notes off the wizard drugs. Essentially saying something along the lines of, the line that sticks out the most is just like general ramblings of like what happens on throughout the days. But the line that sticks out to you like a week in is, I have to leave before somebody sets off the dome.
Ooh.
Oh.
Ooh.
Not
Before
anyone
some-
specific. I'm looking for names. I'm gonna look for names for who that someone might be, or if he thinks that it could just be set off accidentally.
The general vibe seems like it's going to be set off accidentally. He just doesn't know when, and he's trying to get out as soon as possible.
He had runes inscribed into him. What's the likelihood he just wanted to get out? Because it would probably kill him with how much I should get out of the town.
That's true. It could have had a similar effect.
It could have. Well,
As you flip ahead, there's like 30 or so pages. And then the last one is roughly along the lines of, I have everything packed. I'm heading for the woods. The entrance should be somewhere within there.
He might be closer. He's heading for the woods, which sounds a lot closer than some far-off mountain range.
I told you he's still nearby. It does not make sense in his character for him to leave everyone, especially his wife.
I mean, especially his daughter, too, since, points to where the
Still
pendant.
clearly cares for both of them.
And he went into the forest and is now presumably underground.
He might have awoken the undead. Or whatever accident caused this dome to awaken has awoken the undead.
Maybe he didn't make the dome. Something else did.
Based on what that book says, I agree with that.
What this seems to tell me is that we might have been overestimating how difficult it would be if we simply walked into the woods to find him.
We were already saying that we couldn't handle it. That was never a question, but I think it's even further not a question. Is that what you're suggesting?
I'm suggesting that we could likely walk into the woods and find him and have no trouble.
Oh.
And just have a civil conversation.
As
I was
long as we
saying
keep
the
our
opposite.
wits around us to make sure we have a way to retreat in case something does go wrong. I imagine that we could
I
at
myself was under the assumption that he was able to resurrect and control many of these undead, hence power. However, everything that we seem to have discovered today has pointed to the idea that that is a completely unrelated incident.
Those runes he had inscribed in his forehead make me think of something as well. If he's worried about the triggering of this dome so much, well, what if he went to try and contain something within his own being for the better good of the people, but something which, if he were to walk back into the city, would completely destroy everything. Some sort of being that under no circumstance can enter those gates. I believe we need to find out what's sealed beneath the forest. Why he's so invested in it.
Shall we wait for backup, or shall we do this tomorrow?
I would like to sleep first and wait to have some semblance of assistance.
Or do we want to try my really, really stupid plan as tomorrow begins to dawn?
Which was?
The lantern has come back both times we were here. Could we not simply follow back the zombie who carries it? Back straight to the undead leader.
It's possible at this rate that might not even lead us to cross.
I have a question. Okay. What time did we do the scrying thing again?
12:30.
Okay. What exactly did they say? The patrol is
patrol.
coming back.
And they need to
Yes.
get out there, otherwise they're gonna die.
I think we should go at night.
And the patrol's not there? Is that what you were suggesting?
Yes.
I think I agree with this.
The patrols do not seem to be harming anyone, so long as they don't pick up the lantern.
And if
Or
they're
walk in
here
front of
in
them
the
and
city,
challenge it politely.
they won't be occupied back in the woods.
Indeed.
It's very possible that Kroos employs this exact same strategy.
Exactly.
Okay.
An interesting theory.
I believe that warrants testing. Do we still wish to see if there's any connections between the old mill and
The old
this?
mill's at the very least a starting location.
If we can ascertain that the mill is somehow older than the city, that would begin at least some sort of connection.
And at the very least, it would give us a bit more experience moving around at night in the woods.
Ava, do you know if it was abandoned because of the zombies?
I think so.
That's decent enough logic, but it wouldn't hurt to see it ourselves, no?
We could go tonight or tomorrow night, as the night dawns.
I would like to look into the mill before it is night.
Alright. Well, if we're planning on getting there today, then it's likely we'll have to leave almost immediately. Or is it just inside? I don't remember.
What time is it right now?
Like 2:30 in the afternoon, maybe 3.
Okay.
It's a ways, like, in, like, dead north.
Oh, it's a ways into the woods? I thought it was on the edge.
It's, like, not super far, but, like, it's a couple-hour walk.
Okay. Okay, then, in that case, how about we look into the mill on the way? Potentially?
And if we are planning on storming directly into the crypt of the known necromancer, we might want to bring the paladins that we sent for backup.
Yes, are they actually coming?
I'm not expecting much.
Neither am I.
I'm
Well,
expecting
some backup would be better than no
one,
backup.
perhaps 2.
I assume you'd rather have more pieces of armor in front of you than behind you?
Yes, I'm not saying that it would be bad.
I would prefer not to have any pieces of armor near me, but it's beside the point.
Any arguments about going to Gwynevere, getting her up to speed, and then getting some rest so that we aren't tired after waking up early to go follow the lantern guy into the woods to see if we can track down their location?
Ah, yes, good.
Well then, shall we get moving?
I'm gonna go back to my shop then, because I don't think Gwynevere wants to see me.
I'll come with.
Do you mind
Enjoy
if I
yourselves.
stay at the shop for the night again?
Not at all.
We should stay together. We're likely going to have to leave as a group, so I'll come back after I check in with Gwynevere.
Ava, do you wish to join us into the crypt, or are you going to stay behind?
If we find the crypt, I'll figure it out then. We have to find it first.
That is true.
You two walk into the church as the sun looks like it's low in the sky. It's fall. I'm assuming you're going to go look for Gwynevere.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
She's not hard to find, though seems a little stressed. Yes, what can I do for you two?
Well, we've been looking around trying to get information both on the situation at large with the zombies and with your husband missing, and well, we had a scrying orb from a previous adventure and we decided to try it out, and one of our team members decided to try it out on your husband based on their description you were given and some of his notes, and then another of our members, Celsus here, read the minds of both them and the person who picked up the Soulfire lanterns, and it appears they are the necromancer controlling the undead and your husband are not the same person.
Oh, right?
The simple way to phrase it is, it's entirely possible that your husband leaving and the undead arriving around the same time is a complete coincidence. Or at least, not as related as assumed.
Alright.
We also found this notebook hidden in after a second go through of his study, we found a notebook that appears to be what he wrote in after all of his, after using that after using that quill that lets him see the future. It appears he was planning to leave for about a month, and one of the things he mentions about a week in is he wants to leave before the dome comes down. Now, one of the things we've noticed about this town is that the air here is unnaturally still, and that barrier goes roughly in a dome shaped over the whole town from all throughout within the walls. You have any idea what dome he's referring to or its source?
I hadn't even known there was a dome until just now. I have no idea what he could be talking about. If there's some sort of magical barrier, that would make sense, but we've never really had an issue with magic being blocked.
It only seems to affect the wind.
Strange. I don't know what that could be.
I assume I don't have the notebook, because otherwise I'd hand it to her.
You were the one reading the notebook.
I was the one reading the notebook.
Celsus like finishes reading it through again, closes it, and is like, "Okay, here you are."
Thank you. This is quite strange. I don't know why he would write this in Elvish. I can't read Elvish.
Perhaps that's why.
I mean,
You're very optimistic, aren't you?
No, I'm not. Haven't you noticed?
Oh, that was complete sarcasm. You're just completely blind.
No, I was doing. Celsus does air quotes humor. Don't worry, I'll never try again.
Stick to casting magic, man.
I love this. That was
I
fun.
love her.
Since when did Gwynevere get, like,
Sassy.
snarky?
Interaction.
Sassy, I like her.
Feisty.
Stop.
Do you have
Stop.
anything else to report?
No, but we do have a plan. Not sure how good it is, but here we go. We're going to... The Soulfire Lantern we've noticed has appeared, that's Reine unfortunately picked up. We noticed has been present both nights we were here, all nights we were here. Well, if it's here every night, and while most described that the undead simply wander away into the wilderness, that lantern always ends up back at his possession. If the necromancer's possession, if we follow that lantern back at the end of the night, we may find where the undead are coming from.
I see.
Provided we
Alright.
don't, get attacked by the undead because we were spotted.
Anyway, to make a long story short, we follow them, find it, next night go back, see if we find Cross and...
Or the necromancer.
or
Either
the
way.
necromancer, one of the two.
Alright, I thank you.
Originally we were being rather, how shall we say, cautious, but I've simply come to the conclusion that the last group of adventurers were rather incompetent.
It's possible they charged in blindly and got trapped inside. I'd like to avoid doing that.
So as long as we use any of the brain cells, we'll be fine.
I completely understand. Is that all?
Gwynevere has probably noticed Erevan giving Celsus side-eyed glares occasionally during his speeches and tirades.
If Celsus notices, he doesn't do anything to change how he's talking.
Oh, I'm fully
Gwynevere
aware that
about to
Celsus
throw
doesn't
up.
care. I'm saying Gwynevere's noticing this.
That's what I was gonna say.
If that's all, I do need to get to sleep early tonight, so as to be able to regenerate your little friend's hand.
We should be away as well. We need to get our sleep so we don't wake up tired.
Oh, I have to sleep in a cart tonight.
Yes, you do. Come along. And almost gruffly by the shoulder, just steering Celsus away.
Oh,
Yes, yes,
goodbye.
you do.
There goes Celsus, being pushed down the street by Erevan.
There goes Celsus, the asshole.
Here lies
Manhandled by the
Celsus's
paladin.
politeness. We don't think there's anything in the grave, but we put it here for posterity.
Back to the cart.
Cart.
As Celsus leaves and kind of straightens his coat from being dragged out. Cloak.
Cloak.
Cloak. Well, perhaps it will be. Celsus kind of like acknowledging, yeah, I guess she was tired. Perhaps she'll be better if her husband doesn't come back dead.
At the very least, he seemed to care for her, and she seemed to care for him.
I'm not going to try killing him unless he tries first.
What do you know? You actually do have some tact.
No, it would just be annoying if I had to lose a limb.
At this point, Erevan's already walking away.
Celsus just kind of mumbles before starting again. Do I actually have compassion? And then he starts to walk off.
Follow after the big armored form of Erevan.
Man, I hope they don't kill each other.
Why would that be their route of action? Neither of them enjoy the idea of death, I don't believe.
Well, I mean, if you got an immovable object and an unstoppable force,
Neither
what
of
if they
those
just kill
things
each other?
exist. How can you judge an outcome based on two improbabilities?
you can't, and that's why stories are so interesting.
Yes, but you're applying it to real life.
Weirder stuff has happened, hasn't it?
Yeah, and
Listen, they're right there. They're not dead.
We're not making anecdotal fun of you. Definitely not. That is tone, yes?
Yep, you got it.
Howlite does the I see you thing. I believe I'm getting better at this.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, why are you watching him?
Pardon?
You did the I'm watching you. Fingers, I point to
I was told in Safe that this was a greeting. Is that not so?
No. At least not here. Or at least nowhere I've been. That's typically like used to say that you're gonna keep an eye on someone.
Howlite has flashbacks every time she's done it.
Thinks about all the people I've weirded out with that.
Yeah, a lot of times people might think that you're like a serial killer or that you're just a creep. Or a thief. And then a lot of other times, if you look funny, they'll just think you're crazy.
Why does language have to be so hard?
Oh, that's a question I ask myself every day.
At least you didn't threaten about 12 different individuals you'd never met before.
Oh, don't worry, I've only done that to about... hang on.
Oh, what did you misinterpret?
What? Misinterpret?
Yes?
I mean, let's see. I can't tell you off the top of my head, but I know that there's a large number of people that I probably pissed off at one point.
Yes, I do believe the concept of anger is also... I do feel a little uneasy about all of those feelings, I believe you would put it that way.
Oh yeah, some of them are just absolutely garbage.
How do you describe that?
Which thing?
Anger.
Depends. Anger in the sense of somebody insulted you or something? That one's like a sort of, how to word it? That is a hard one to really describe, isn't it? Bad gut feeling type deal, but not as bad, I guess. It just gets progressively worse the more angry you get. Stomach gets all in knots. Face and head start feeling a little warm and lightheaded.
Hmm.
And then if you, like, threaten a family member for me, that just makes me bloodthirsty. Which is like,
Bloodthirsty.
yeah, it's like anger, but worse. Like, you want to murder somebody and you don't care if you break the law to do it.
For the sake of drinking their blood? Is that a ritualistic
That's an
practice?
expression.
Ah, yes. Just like, this again.
But you've essentially got the
This
expression.
expression.
Should
But you've
I?
essentially got the expression, right? You're gonna brutally murder them in such a way that drinking their blood is technically viable.
Hmm.
You don't, though, because you're not that crazy. But there are people that are that crazy.
Yes, I've heard of such. But I believe it's just a matter of learning this language more clearly and also, yes, learning how you express it. It's very interesting.
Let's see, you're an elf, right? I was gonna say you got the pointed ears and everything. I didn't want to assume, like, fully an elf or something at first, but I was kind of, like, half sure, so...
Your
Wait, what do you mean,
certainty
probably?
is, well, just that. I'm not quite sure.
Amnesia.
I suppose you could explain it that way. That or no one ever told me.
Ooh, that's an even worse one.
I'm not quite sure.
Well, I mean, you look like you'll live a long time, so you'll just take, like, a few... maybe 10 years to fully get it, maybe? Granted, that might just be me.
I'm not sure how you can judge the time for that, but...
Yeah, time's like a weird soup, whenever you get down to it.
That's a
That's
saying?
so weird. It's time of soup.
Well, I mean, it's not as filling as you would think it would be, but there's a lot of it.
And it has a lot of ingredients, and if you simmer them together, they make something new. Yes?
And if you add in something from the outside, that also can make something new.
I think I'm starting to see how these work. Okay. Like a soup. They just sort of smile to themselves for a second.
I mean, that's always how I thought of time.
I like that. I think it's apt. I love these two
David's
comments.
just fiddling with a little thing.
Celsus is keeping to himself.
What's Ava fiddling with? I look over.
Just like a little metal box.
Me personally wanting to pick apart your dynamic, wanting to ask how divination magic works for the soup, realizing that that is not a question that Erevan would ask.
What is divine soup?
How do you see the future of the soup?
I think they're just gonna look over and just be, what's that?
It's a box that I'm welding together.
Where'd the little guy that was trying to stab you earlier go?
He's currently attached to the ceiling.
Looks up.
There's a net with a large brass ball with arms.
That seems hazardous. Can he get out of that?
He can. It takes him about 2 days, though, because he gets all tangled up in the net. So he'll get down tomorrow, try to kill me, I'll put him back up there, I'll oil his joints.
His patterns are a science? Very interesting.
Yeah. And then he'll get angry again and wrap himself up in the fucking net again.
Why does he want to kill you?
Because he thinks I made him too small.
Oh,
Didn't you say your dad built him? No, but it was the first
He's
one.
my first one.
I feel you on the being too small, little guy.
maybe, Uryte, if you teach him about soup, he'll feel less bloodthirsty?
Oh god, no. when you're small, and because somebody else fucked up, no offense, you get angry about that, and then you kind of just want to murder whoever did it to you. Or figure out the why.
Strange.
Don't worry, your joke went above my head.
Literally.
Well, yes, you could say I am. They, like, furrow their brow for a second. They look like they're thinking very hard. Up in the clouds.
It's funny because you do wind stuff.
Yes.
Mentally to himself. Also because you're a little bit of an airhead.
Oh, God. I fucking love them.
Celsus.
Yes.
Got any fun stories?
No.
Really?
No.
You didn't, accidentally cause an explosion when you were learning wizard stuff?
Nope.
Didn't accidentally, magic missile someone in the butt?
No.
Didn't magic missile somebody in the butt
I
on
have a
purpose?
question.
No. Yes.
Why do you dislike everything? Is there a reason for that?
Not particularly.
I hope you enjoy it, then, I suppose. I'm not sure I fully understand
Noted.
that.
Well, do you have any stories, little guy?
I was gonna
Just
ask you
me.
next.
Well, my stories are a bit personal, but I can tell them if you want.
I mean, not if you don't want to, but...
Erevan, your stories
I imagine
add
mine are
to
still
the
going,
soup.
too. Because you see, I'm not actually originally from Priam. I'm from Caldaro.
So you've been this way before?
Yeah. You could say that I've been this way before, though originally I was coming the other direction, and I don't think I took this road. You see, Caldaro's always broken up to local lords and dukedoms and baronies. And ours, well, he wasn't the most, upstanding man. He was quite corrupt. Overtaxing the populace, that sort of thing. We didn't want to starve, as he was taxing and making us pay fines out of our houses and homes. So a little rebellion was staged. And when he called in the king, who was nearby with his personal retinue and a small contingency of soldiers, me and the rest of the leaders of our little rebellion successfully petitioned the king that we could prove that he was embezzling the king and not sending him all the funds that he was due. And
Wow.
when we did, he brought me back to the capital, Rila, and enrolled me into becoming trained as a paladin. He gave me a whole slew of temples I could choose. I chose Palo. I haven't looked back. Admittedly, I'm now more living in Priam because the king that I was working under, who saw the chivalry and honor that our little rebellion had, well, he's dead and dying. And his son, well, he's not so keen to have previous rabble-rousers around. That's my tale.
Oh, it's like flipping through a journal, writing down little tidbits of it as you go.
Damn. He went through a freaking lot. Can't say it's all bad, though,
I've
right?
had an eventful life.
Whoa.
But I've learned that most people, noble, priest, or yeoman, just want to make a living.
Make a living.
Just want to find their purpose.
Oh, I understand that one. What does make a living mean? That's another new one for me.
Essentially just, make enough money or such that you can get by. Or not even money, just do enough work. to get by if you live off the land and whatnot.
I see it's more circumstantial. My first instinct was to have children, but I assumed that did not make fully sense, considering there are many of those who do not have any interest in such an affair.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, like, you know, sometimes, even if you don't want to have kids, you still have kids.
If you do not want to have children, having them anyway?
Yeah.
I don't think I follow.
I mean, so, alright, say that you got a king and a queen and whatnot, and you need an heir.
Oh,
Queen doesn't want to have kids, but the king needs an heir. Instead of going out and adopting a kid, sometimes he'll just get a mistress or, well, be like, you're my queen, you gotta have kids.
I see. A social pressure of
Royalty is way too preoccupied with heritage.
Not all of them.
A good portion of them, especially around here.
I was gonna say, it sounds like around here it's pretty focused on it. Where I'm from,
Up north, there was a lot less of a focus on that sort of a thing. Then again, the people I spoke to were primarily nomadic groups, people who did not, prescribe one place as their living. So,
yeah, nomads are a lot different. Don't they typically have like a leader that's not determined by prestige, or not prestige, that's not the word, but by
Heritage.
Yeah, not by heritage, not by blood, but by like what they've done for the people, or because
Yes.
they were chosen.
in most cases, the leaders that I have met were chosen on a matter of, I believe aptitude would be the word. Maybe respect and possibly renown. They were leaders that the people looked up to, and that followed the
Reputation
same...
might be the word.
Oh yes, reputable. They maintained the same sort of core beliefs of their people, and were not there by force or by any sort of history, but more so like, yes, a appointed leader, I suppose.
And the people came and surrounded them because they wanted to.
Yes.
Because the people chose to follow as opposed to the person chose to lead.
Yeah, that actually kind of sounds like what happened back there.
I've met one group that varied in that sense, and they were...
Oh,
Their leader was chosen in a very different manner. A matter of, I would say, divine inheritance.
I thought you were gonna say like they had a fight, and
Oh,
that
no.
whoever came out on top was the.
The group's beliefs were simply that their deity walked amongst men, and that individual was reborn. And thus their leader happened to be a representative of said deity.
Huh.
They were a very
Neat.
peaceful group.
That sounds interesting. I'd like to meet them one day. That sounds like a interesting group. Hell, a lot of these groups sound interesting. What am I talking about?
I could most likely track some of them down for you. I've been up that way quite a lot.
For the moment, I need to focus on the task of mine at hand.
Someday, though.
Oh yeah, that would be nice someday to visit them. Hell, one of them might even be on the way to go finding this curse wizard dude.
Do you believe that you would enjoy the monks' how do I put this? Their culture through food. They smile. Some of
good,
the
they're not-
most exquisitely smoked and prepared and spiced meats I think I've ever experienced. Combination
God, I
of
miss-
lamb, of milk from goats, and the herbs and spices that could be cooked around the mountainous region.
I miss spiced food.
Trail rations aren't the most interesting foods.
Yes, I noticed that about Lemstead. They're, Oh, I don't mean to be rude about this. I hope this isn't taken wrong, but... do they not know what salt is? Their food tasted as if it were made from a paper mill.
No clue on that one. Some people do less is more and let people season as they go, but...
I do not believe that is for me.
I just know that this is gonna sound weird, but imagine a very hot climate. The people there eat spicy-ass food. I just find that fun.
In the colder areas, when it came to mountains, well, it made sense that they wished to warm themselves with the heat of their food. You're saying that those from hot regions also eat spicy food? I find that interesting.
Oh god, yeah.
Well, just warm and spicy seem different to me.
You can have a warm, spicy food, or a cold spice, I guess, but...
Oh, I wonder...
Or you can have a warm food without too much spice.
Howlite is going to pull out a small, like... I would say it's like a soft, like, a leather pouch, like, very small. And they, like, shake out just a little bit of a flake of something into their hand, and, they look up at the others and they say, "This is something that was gifted to me from those monks I spoke of. The ones with the spiritual leader. It is a dried vegetable which contains enough heat in a single speck to power an entire dish. I've been meaning to save it for a good occasion, but should we find a place with good meats, I do believe such a food would be better shared."
I've always been of the opinion that food is best served with others.
I have been told as much as well.
Or it's just drooling.
Would you like to try it? You said you were missing spice.
It's been a while.
They're gonna break off just a little bit of the pepper's, like, skin and hold it out to Uryte.
I should... okay.
What kind of how spicy do you think this pepper is, Tali?
I was going along the lines of, like, not ghost pepper levels, but closer to, like, habanero levels. So, like, upper spice regions, but not, like...
Yo,
More than
no,
jalapeno, but
stronger
not
than
like...
jalapenos.
Richard, what's Uryte's spice tolerance?
Oof. On a scale of 1 to 5, a 3.
So this is like this is on a scale of 1 to 5, a 3. This is like a 2.5 is what I was imagining. Not insane and not super weak.
Yeah, it's a nice warm. You can feel it, Uryte, as you taste it. But it's not something that I'm going to make you Constitution check.
Coward.
Celsus, would you like to try some?
No.
It's so good.
Oh, idiot. They kind of whisper down to him so the others can't hear. I do believe I understand. The people here, the reason that they choose to eat how they do. They look over at Celsus. I don't believe he knows what salt is.
What are you talking about? I feel like he's a pretty salty individual.
What?
Celsus is choosing to pretend to not to hear any of this.
I was whispering it so you couldn't hear it, fucker.
I know, Uryte didn't, though.
Yeah, or it was kind of a little louder. And then he whispers, "No, that one's kind of a joke. So being a salty person means, like, you know, how to word this?
That one doesn't immediately make sense.
So, salty, I guess, is another way to, like, kind of say tough guy act, aggressive, resentful. Like, there's a lot of ways you can use it. Like,
Is Celsus pretending to be tough? That's not the vibe I got.
he's doing that quiet, tough guy act right now, you know?
They look over at Celsus.
See, look at that. Arms crossed.
I'm gonna say Celsus is just reading a book.
No, fuck. He grabbed a book.
If it's an act, I should be able to. Howlite's gonna, like, sort of inch closer to Celsus. An actual tough guy would probably hit me for this. They're going to poke him on the shoulder.
Celsus, for like a good second, doesn't look away, then like blinks, and then as his eyes open, they're facing you. Yes.
Do you know what salt is?
Yes.
Okay. I think my theory is false. They turn back to Uryte. Oh.
Oh, God. Well, but I should say gods. There's multiple. Hey,
Should we sleep for the night?
probably. Remind me to eventually possibly introduce y'all to where I'm from if we ever go that way.
You come from across the ocean, yes?
Yeah.
Maybe that would be... Yes. Huh. Sure.
Just make sure that you're dressed appropriately for it.
Older.
No, do you see what I'm freaking wearing? Part of my stomach's showing. It's hot.
Oh, yes, that definitely...
Maybe you should put on some more clothes here then.
Yes, maybe you should
Winter's
dress for
coming.
this.
I do believe,
yes.
Uryte, if we do go up north, you would do best to invest in a... They kind of pull their, like, star cloak aside and show that it's, like, lined with wool. Something a little bit more like this.
He does that little, like, lizard tongue thing of, like, it sticks out and, like, you know, flips in the air, just... Yeah. If we're going north at any point in time where it's cold, I'm buying heat rocks if they exist here.
Heat rocks.
Stones imbued with magic or just literally thrown in a furnace
Do
for
you
a few
mean
minutes.
coals?
No, like something that you can carry around on your person that won't burn your skin. You can, like, get these nice, like, really thin rocks. They'll heat them up, put them in, like, this little packaging that keeps the heat in longer, and you can just, like, hold that, and it's nice.
Oh, I do believe I understand what you mean. I don't have the same attachment to heat as you do, but I assume that might be nice.
It is very nice. I'm a freaking reptile. Warm good, cold bad.
Well, I'm going to get in my hammock.
Good idea.
The bunk was not as bad as I expected it to be. I think I will use it again. I hope I do not get too accustomed to non-roof beddings.
Celsus has definitely already asked. Yes, so where am I sleeping?
Can I sleep away from these walls?
Bunk beds.
I'm just imagining Uryte knees bending, just going up and down. Bunk bed.
Oh yeah, bunk beds!
Like, the bunk bed's probably getting shown, and he just jazz hands it.
I am going to take the top bunk as usual.
Wait, beds.
Yeah, it's
There's the 5 of us with you in your hammock.
I
was
think
just
there were only 3 bunk beds.
There were.
I'll take the floor then.
Oh, no. You can have a bed. I was gonna, like, you know, sleep on the floor this time.
I'm not opposed from swapping out. I do not mind the roof. In fact, I prefer it. If someone needs
Yes,
to
but
not
we don't
hurt
want you getting
themselves,
attacked in the middle of the night.
She'll be fine, probably.
I have you down here. If I am in danger, I will simply make a lot
Scream.
of noise.
But no, it's fine. I actually kind of want to sleep on the floor tonight.
Well, it seems everyone is in agreement then.
Yeah, we're wedging you in the middle, Celsus.
Don't phrase it like that.